Okay, good evening, everyone. Thanks you for joining us here for basically the season finale of season two of Horror Hangouts. Tonight, take a little bit of a brief breather, a break until next year. But we've got all star panel on tonight. Think you've probably seen everyone here. I've got just below me here. I have returning Carrie King. How are you doing this evening, Carrie?
Doing really well. I don't know why my name is DSDSDSD, but I couldn't get it to change. So that's what we're going with tonight.
Okay, we'll call you DSDSD for now
Do it.
on. We of course have Kyle, horrible writer, which of course play on words, but you're more horror than horrible, I would say.
Thank you.
Then also coming back to us, we've got Kimberly from the Horror Concierge Substack page. How are we doing tonight, Kimberly?
Doing good. Good to see everyone.
And making her long awaited triumphant return, we have Molly Oblivion, who last we spoke, you were just someone doing a little YouTube channel, which you've kind of put a hold on and I knew you on Instagram, but now you've joined the Substack family here in the last few months and putting out a lot of good content, especially this past October with the 31 movies of October, which was a lot of fun to
Insane.
participate
It was insane. I still can't believe I survived that month. It was a lot of fun, and I'm happy to be here. I'm glad I finally made it back.
I couldn't have done it. I mean, I not like that. I couldn't have done a big post like that every day. That's why I
It was
only did
it
like
was
about
intense.
half of them or a third of them.
I felt so bad because I was going every single day, and then as soon as October was over, I took like 2 weeks off. I'm like, I need to just breathe. It was so much fun, but a lot of writing. So yeah.
I was planning for like 2023 just to get enough in time to hit October 1st of 2025. So I was impressed. Very cool.
Thank you.
And of course, Kyle, we had our lot of fun too doing. You had how much? How many was it? 13 of us each writing a post each day about a particular Halloween movie, which of course led right up Kimberly writing about the original Halloween. We just kind of like went backwards and to the very beginning. So that was
Those were
that was a
awesome.
fun
Those were
journey.
so much fun to read. Yeah, those were so great, you guys. Like, I loved them so much.
Yeah, it was a blast, and I actually have the complete schedule done for Scare Stack's 25 Days of Slays that's going to start December 1st to the 25th. And we actually have 26 writers, so there's going to be two one day with separate movies. And then have some more invites for future endeavors next year, some ideas we're going to be working on. So, really excited. And DSDSDSD, if you're ever interested in doing with us at some point, that would be awesome. We love it. Just let me know.
I would love to
Um,
do that. I love writing about horror. I think it's all I want to do after I watch a film or read a book. I'm like, "Ugh, how can I get this out?" So I would love that.
Cool. Well, yeah. Well, you'll definitely be on with us next year. So,
Awesome.
but yeah, we've got a really good group. It's almost doubled compared to the Halloween series, and then with this series, instead of it just being a Halloween franchise, we actually have the Silent Night, Deadly Night franchise mostly that's in there, but all the others are either remakes or runs the gamut from older movies from the '70s all the way up to movies that's come out in the last couple years. So I think it's going to be fun, but I'm going to get that out and really start marketing heavy for it as we're, gosh, a weekish away from, week and a half away from December.
I can't believe how quickly this month has gone by.
Yeah, it's almost
Yeah.
over. And of course, last but not least, from the Macabre Tavern, we've got Yanni Hamburger. How are we doing, Yanni?
Oh,
I know
oh,
you.
I'm ready. I'm ready for this month to end. I'll be honest with you. It's been so long, such a long month. But ready to get ready for the holidays is all I know at
Mhm.
this point.
Welcome back.
We
I
got
was
you back.
serious about those problems with my connectivity. But yeah, so anyway, I'm not sure where I left off there, but again, I know we're approaching December 1st, so I'm gonna have a lot of information coming out with yeah, our schedule and everything. So yeah, excited about it. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So
I
Right.
think so. And have you thought about doing, since we've got a couple Friday the 13th coming up next year, one in February, one in March? Have you thought about doing something similar like what we did with Halloween?
yes, so would love to do like well, let me ask you this because I'm not 100% sure when these Friday the 13th fall. What month does the first Friday the 13th take place next year?
February,
Okay, February, and then when is the next one?
March. We
You
have them back to back months,
Wow.
Okay,
which is,
I would love to. At the February would be great too. I'm down for that. I think March getting as we go into spring and closer to summer, where I always, well, at least for me, I think Friday the 13th is more of a summer camp and all that. So, but yeah, I would love to do a series where everybody jumps in and tackles everything from the original all the way to the remake. I think that came out in 2009. So I think that'd
yeah.
be a lot of fun. I would even love for next summer to load down like Sleepaway Camp 1 through at least 3. I know there's some additional sequels there, but if anyone loves that series, that would be a blast to cover. But maybe just some other summer camp beyond Friday the 13th, just like that whole subgenre of, within slashers of the of summer camp um, movies. So
Yeah,
I think
we had
there's a lot to
I've
do.
done a video on, and yeah, I think Molly, you were on that one. We were talking about our favorite summer horror. We did this obviously last summer, and I know Sleepaway Camp was one. I think we talked about The Burning. I
Hmm.
think Cabin in the Woods was in there. I mentioned X, which would be a summer horror film. I would call
Yeah, I
that.
think I was pushing pretty hard for Lumberjack Man too, because that's one that really doesn't get a whole lot of attention, and it's one of my favorite summer camp slasher movies. So yeah, I loved that. That was a lot of fun talking about all
Yeah.
those.
Well, speaking of course, right now, and how many? Of course, we're only 4 episodes in right now with Welcome to Derry. How many? How many of you have watched any of the episodes so far?
I have
Well,
not.
I'm gonna
I
so I can
haven't
just bring up
either.
the whole thing at once.
My daughter has, and I've got some feedback from her. So I have not. I haven't had a chance yet. So
Okay, then I'm going to table that one until. Well, no, I was just kind of curious because I wanted to bring it up so far. I'll just give my brief input, and then when the whole, because I think they're going to have 10 episodes, so
Mhm.
come January when we come back, we can look back at the whole franchise or the whole series anyway. And so far, there's been enough that's kept me interested. I think it's done really well. It's kind of got a blend of the movie because it's done by the Muschietis, same people who made the 2 movies at Chapter One, Chapter Two, but because of its setting being set in the early like 1962, it feels a little bit like the miniseries. So it's kind of got both those vibes coming together. I like the characters so far. I think the story's really good. I'm curious to see where it's going to go a little bit.
Mhm.
Just the thing is, I know there's at least 3 characters I know are going to survive this series because they kind of have to for future events to happen. So certainly the first episode pretty much catches you off guard because there's characters that you think are going to be your main characters, and 3 of them are wiped out just like that in the movie theater. So
Oh,
there's definitely not going to be any. They're pretty much no one's safe for the most part. I don't think so.
any
is it
Tim Curry
gory?
cameos? Oh, I'm sorry.
Any
I was
Carrie
gonna say,
cameos?
is it gory?
What was that, Kimberly?
Is it gory? Like the one movie that's like really
Yeah, I
yeah.
would say there's some good gory scenes. I think each episode has had a little bit of gory scenes. You have to probably be a little bit patient because there is a subplot that at first you don't think has anything to do with what's going on, but it's starting to. it brings everything together, I think, or that's what they're leaning towards. We're really following one of the characters we're following is basically Mike Hanlon's grandfather, because he is at this Air Force base that is at Derry, and there's a secret military thing where they are looking for the crash site where it fell, and I'm not sure what they think they're going to do, but it's not going to end well for them. And then we are dealing with some kid characters, and a couple of whom I would assume is going to be Mike's parents. Um, so that's why I think, well, all right, those three characters I know are going to survive this series. Everyone else, it's open air. Also, the town sheriff happens last name happens to be Bowers, so we can assume that it's Henry Bowers' grandfather, I guess. So,
Looking forward to it.
but yeah, I would give it a watch. It's certainly, well, I'll say it was. We talked about this a couple episodes ago about Alien Earth and how we weren't big fans of that. So it's working out much better than Alien Earth did.
Good.
But one thing I want to do before we get to, of course, we are in the holidays. We're approaching Thanksgiving and Christmas. But first, I want to do a little fun little game called Fix a Movie. And basically, it's like take a horror movie that you didn't like, or maybe you did like, but it could have been a lot better if you just made a few little tweaks, a few little changes to it. So, given the fact we just finished Halloween, the movie I'm picking is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, which, whenever a movie has revenge in its subtitle, see Jaws The Revenge, for example, it's probably not going to be very good. At least I didn't think it was. Um, I was a big fan of Halloween 4. We know this. You guys probably read, most of you may have read my post from last month on Halloween 4. And 5 was a bit of a letdown for various reasons. You had a different director, different writer. And here's the things I would change. Number one, no Man in Black. Get rid of him. The whole scene of him arriving in Haddonfield on a bus, just drawing attention to him seems so weird. I mean, what, couldn't the guy just drive there or whatever? And then, of course, it complicates the whole thing, the whole series even more, because the thing is, it's going to be a 2-for-1 deal here where I'm going to be, by fixing 5, I can fix 6. But that's the first thing. No Man in Black, no Cult of Thorn, none of that. Um, Number 2, we're not going to kill Rachel off in the first 15 minutes, because as I've stated, part of what made Halloween 4 good was this great relationship between Rachel and Jamie. You had a little bit of an arc where at the beginning she saw Jamie as basically a pain in the ass for the most part because she's just this foster sister. But as the movie progresses, we see their relationship and their bond grow as true sisters. And then you just kill her off in the first 10, 15 minutes, very unceremoniously. It was a pretty terrible kill for the most part. The character wasn't well written because she would have taken any threats seriously given what happened a year prior. So, no, if we're going to kill Rachel off, it's going to be towards the end of the movie where she is sacrificing herself for Jamie. So, there's number 2. Number 3, we're not going to make. We can have Tina in the movie, but we're not going to make her the main focus. She was a character that was not in Halloween 4. She has no real reason to that we know of, no background to be really invested in the story. She could be a throwaway character, a character to add to the kill count, fine. And let's face it, she is a little bit, oh, politely, she's a little bit too goofy, to say the least. Not very brilliant. She doesn't really check out any of the boxes that we would want from. Well, she's really not a final girl because she does die, but as a main protagonist, female protagonist, doesn't check any of the boxes that I'm aware of. And I think Kimberly, you might agree with that because that's kind of like your thing.
Mhm.
Um, so she would be kind of sidelined, and then Loomis. I get it. Loomis would be unhinged at this point. He's been dealing with Michael Myers for 25 years at this point. But I don't think he would go as far as using a young child as a human shield towards the end of the movie. I mean, and granted, once again, I will say there's some good things I can say about Halloween 5. I think overall, with what he had to work with, Donald Pleasance, as usual, does a good job as the character. I think he was constantly at odds with the director. I think there's a quote where he said, "I've been playing this character for 10 years. I think I know how to play him." So, and he was notoriously,
Was
and he was drinking quite a bit on set, as Daniel Harris, who was like 10 at the time, would attest that. He was like had something funny on his breath. I'm not sure. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I'm pretty sure it was gin. And she does a
was
good
that
job and she does a good job too in the role, even though most of the time she's not speaking. But sometimes that's even tougher to play a role where you're not allowed to talk. So that'd be one thing.
Molly, were you
I
going
just
to
have a
say
quick question.
Hmm.
Yeah, sorry. I just was because I get 4 and 5. I'm so sorry. The Jamie Lloyd Cult of Thorn
Hmm.
block of Halloween is the one that I'm least familiar with. So I apologize because I get 4 and 5 kind of mixed up.
Right.
Was it 4 or 5 where Loomis had that scar that like looked like a somebody had just like smashed an egg against his face and it kind of moves around throughout the movie? Like they couldn't decide where the scar was. That
Yeah.
5?
No, that was four. That was
I would pick
four.
that.
That
Oh, it
reminds
was
me.
4.
Kind of reminds me of Mel Brooks's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, where the
Hmm.
king has a mole on his face and it's moving around across the entire movie, and the
Men in
sheriff's like,
tights, yeah,
"Wasn't
where
your
like
mole?"
yeah.
Yeah, Men in Tights. I got that confused with the costume movie, but
Yeah. So that was 4 though.
right. And when four was
Okay.
written, it was never meant to be a Cult of Thorn thing. There's no allusions to it. They were just trying to make a good, solid Halloween movie as a follow up to the first two films. That's all they were trying to do. And it could have, way it ended, could have made for a really, that in itself makes for a really good trilogy, much like, say, 1, 2, and H2O do in an alternate timeline where uh, Laurie Strode's still alive.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the final point I'll make about Halloween 5 is the ending. And the way I would have ended this, and would have been, we would not have ended, once again, the man in black storming the police station with a 1930s style Tommy gun, mowing down all the cops and releasing Michael Myers and kidnapping Jamie. Um, what I would have done, it would have been, and I will say this, I did like the scenes within the house. Also, though, about the Myers house, maybe make the Myers house kind of look like the Myers house from the first one instead of a Victorian house, which I do like Victorian architecture, but it doesn't work for supposedly it's supposed to be the Myers house. But the way I would have ended it is after Loomis, puts his little trap on Michael and the big metal net comes down on him and he beats him with a 2x4. As Michael's still laying down on the ground, his knife is right next to him. Jamie's standing there. She sees Michael's hand twitches and she goes berserk, grabs the knife and just starts stabbing Michael repeatedly and cut. That's how we end the movie. And then that leads you into Halloween 6. No Cole Thorn, no Jamie having Michael's, we presume, baby. None of that. Jamie Jamie would at this point be in Smith's Grove where she's been locked up. Michael would have escaped at some point. They could show a little scene where him escaping out of an ambulance or whatever, disappears for 6 years. Jamie Lloyd gets released from Smith's Grove. She has no family. So Tommy Doyle and say maybe Lindsay Wallace take her in to watch over her you know, as a kind of like honoring her mother, more or less, because she's something that didn't go further enough in Halloween Kills, I might add, with those two characters. But Either way, you bring Paul Rudd. We'll have Paul Rudd in his first movie once again as Tommy Doyle. Only he gets to do more stuff and not act like a creep through most of the movie. And then you would have like a final standoff between Jamie Lloyd and Michael Myers, however that ends. It's really kind of borrowing because that's the frustrating thing about 5 and 6. You the writers of Halloween had the template right there in front of them what they could have done with that character, and it's called Friday the 13th parts 4, 5, and 6. You had it right there. What they did with the Tommy Jarvis character, they could have done with the Jamie Lloyd character. So that's my fix for the night.
It would have been a better movie, yeah, for sure. I wouldn't disagree with you.
Yeah.
And remove the cops in part 5. The
Oh,
Keystone Cops.
I almost I
It's
almost
rough.
forgot about them.
Yeah, makes no sense. If y'all know what I'm talking about, there's like a scene where there's like these Keystone Cops and this really comedic, wonky instrumental music playing all of a sudden. Yeah, it's terrible.
Sound effects, yeah. And the
Yeah, it was
drug,
goofy as hell.
yeah. And it was like a director was a French director who directed that. And normally, French directors do really good at directing horror, but not this one.
I feel like
Now,
since it being the late '80s, very early '90s, I feel like there's probably a lot of like cocaine between the writers, and I think there was just a lot of bad decisions through inebriation, probably.
Yeah, I tend
well,
to blame a lot of movies from that era on cocaine. I think it works as sort of a blanket excuse for a lot of them. So.
Right. Sometimes it works out well, and sometimes it doesn't. So
yes. So that's my thing. Now, Carrie, I don't think you mentioned you haven't really seen too many. I think you've just said you only seen the original Halloween film.
Yes, in preparation for Kimberly and Margaret and my YouTube live on The Final Girl, I watched what is it, the trifecta of horror movies. So Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. And so, but yeah, and for anyone that doesn't know, I was raised super conservative and I couldn't watch the Smurfs. So
Yeah.
none of the movies that we're talking about were a possibility on the table at all. So I'm doing a lot of catching up, just in trying to kind of get my horror education in place because I missed out on so much.
Well, that's what we're here for. But
Yep.
I probably now just scared you off of watching 5 and 6.
No,
Just-
I'm totally down with watching them. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Six is wonderful. I mean, it is terrible, but it's also wonderful because of Paul Rudd. And as long as, according to Josh's fix, Paul Rudd would still be there, still be doing his thing, and it's totally worth a watch for him and his amazing head tilt and everything that he brought to Halloween. So I think, yeah, it's hard to. You gotta watch 6, I think, just to see Paul Rudd in that movie.
I would
They're
argue
talk-
it doesn't get terrible until Resurrection. That's when it just
Yeah,
derails and
right.
go off.
yeah, that's the I equate Resurrection is to Halloween what Revelations is to the Hellraiser series, essentially, or
Well,
maybe
no. But speaking of fixes, though, have any of you seen the found footage cut of Resurrection?
Mm-mm.
Where they took all of the actual sort of the narrative scenes out of it. They cut everything with Jamie from the beginning, and it's all of just the found footage scenes from the movie cut together into a new movie, like into a new cut. And I haven't
Wow.
seen it, but I'm wildly curious about it. And I've heard from other people that it is a much better movie. Obviously, it's a lot shorter, but it's
Yeah.
a much better version of the film, especially with cutting, everything with Jamie out from the beginning, which of course is like a huge part of what makes Resurrection so terrible, is what they did with Laurie's character. So they cut that out, and it's I am really excited to see that version because apparently it does kind of fix Resurrection a little bit. So.
Okay. Well, same with 6, the producer's cut. I think improve, and I'm a fan of 6 as well. But have you seen the producer's cut
I have
with the
not.
different?
I've
I've
heard
seen
of
both
it.
of them.
I recommend it, and if you get the new Blu-ray set, the one that came out in the last probably 2 or 3 years, it has both options, both discs, and so yeah, the ending is different, and then it it fills in some of the. There's so much editing in the original; it was chopped up so much. This kind of brings a little more cohesion, and then you get a different take on the ending with Loomis that makes it, I think, a little more palatable. So both good, but yeah, definitely as fans of the series, if you haven't seen the producer's cut, it's at least don't rush out and watch it tonight. But at least for Halloween season next year, it'd be a good one to check out. So,
Interesting.
you may have to rent it. It's usually not streaming in at least in the past. No, it could be now, but yeah, even for a rental, it would be worth it for sure.
Which one of the Halloween installments is the one where Lori comes back and kicks butt? Because that's the one that
H2O.
I feel like for me, I need to experience that one.
H2O. And I'm sorry to jump in on it, but I am a diehard H2O fan, and I cannot stress enough how much I recommend. I mean, I recommend it. It's my favorite film in the Halloween franchise, and I know that's a very
Really?
controversial opinion, but I love Laurie, and H2O is like the ultimate Laurie Strode. It is her movie. It's not Michael's movie. Highly recommend.
Yeah. Yes. That's awesome. Thank you.
It is really good.
Yeah. So, does anyone else have a fix? Molly, do you have a movie that you could fix?
Um, yeah, I mean, I have a short answer, and then I also have like what would probably be a longer answer. Which one do you want?
We can go with the longer answer.
Okay, I don't know if you guys have seen if uh, who has seen it here, but it's a film called The Hills Run Red.
Hmm.
Is anybody familiar with it?
No, but enlighten us.
Well, it's a Dark Castle film from like the late 2010s, in that sort of the era where they were transitioning, because Dark Castle started really strong in the late 90s, and then they got really weird and weak kind of in the mid, 2000s, and then they blew everyone's mind with Orphan. And so it was The Hills Run Red was released during that weird off period for Dark Castle. I think it was like 2008. I could be wrong about that. But it's a very interesting concept. It's a very meta story about a guy who is obsessed with this lost movie that's supposed to be like one of the most horrific and controversial horror films ever made. But it was lost to time, and the director died, and nobody had ever seen it. It's very similar, actually, in setup to like John Carpenter's Cigarette Burns, where it's like this elusive film that like almost no one ever saw, and the people who did see it were like they went crazy or they died or whatever. And so this kid is like really obsessed with finding the movie. He ends up taking his girlfriend and his best friend and the daughter of the director of this elusive movie out into the woods to kind of sort of track down the filming location. It's such a great setup. I love it. And but in my opinion, it's a terrible movie. I mean, it was just such a misfire because it has no real soul to it. It's very much, I don't even use the phrase torture porn often because I think that it's a very overused phrase. It is a movie I would absolutely categorize as torture porn, to the point where I was really surprised that Dark Castle even put it out. It's just it's brutal, and but without any real meaning behind it. And one of the things that I think that could be done to fix it, because I think it's such a great concept, is I think that the movie should have been found footage, because you have a lot of commentary in the film about exhibitionism and about what people are willing to do to get just that great shot or that great film, or the lengths people are willing to go to scare people. It should have been a found footage movie. I think it would have been a lot more effective. And then I also would have absolutely given a little bit more depth to the characters and made them a hell of a lot more likable. Like, for instance, the characters are fighting through the entire movie. Like, I'm sorry to spoil this part of it, but it doesn't really matter. The guy's girlfriend is cheating on him with his best friend, and they don't get along, and nobody is supportive of his obsession with this movie, and everyone around him hates horror movies and doesn't understand it. And it's like, dude, who is this movie for? Because it feels like it's for horror fans, but there's literally one horror movie fan in the entire film. Like, it should have been a group of people who really get along and who are all equally invested in tracking down this lost movie. And then at the very end, they tack on this like little vignette of like footage of them all laughing together that you literally didn't see through the entire movie. And it's like, it feels like an afterthought. So I would have just focused more on the characters getting along, made the movie found footage, and the ending, which I will not spoil since you have not seen it, is really deeply disturbing. And it wouldn't, it because they give this character so much, she has such a great arc and she becomes such a badass, and I'm really rooting for her. Even though I can't stand her character, I'm rooting for her in the end because of how hard she's fought, and they really fucked it up with the ending in such a horrible way. So yeah, that's the one horror movie that I would like to fix the most, because I feel like it had the most potential and I was really disappointed with the overall execution. So sorry to ramble about a movie you guys haven't seen, but
No,
I
that's all
would
right.
recommend it. It just be very mindful of the fact that it's not a fun watch, and it's just really sad because it could have been a very fun watch. Yeah.
I think there's quite a few movies that we probably have all run into like that. Like, God, this movie is horrible, but if they had just done A, B, and C
Mhm.
differently, it would have been
Mhm.
much better. It's like, a lot of times it just does come down to writing. And since, frankly, all of us here are writers, I think we all had our writer's brains and look at
Yeah.
why do they
Well, and yeah, and I think that that's the mark of a it's a mark of a movie with potential if you get frustrated with it. Like if you're
Mhm.
pissed that it's not better,
Yeah.
I feel like that means that there is some kind of a kernel there of like, God, this could have been so good. And that's yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yanni, do you have one that you'd like to fix?
I like to try my hand at Maximum Overdrive.
Okay.
Oh
There's a couple of things, nothing serious that I would really change. Maybe the lawnmower scene a little, tweak it a little bit. Uh, I thought there was maybe a little too much at the beginning. It just got way too out of control at the beginning before we actually got into the story at the
Hmm.
diner. But I love what Stephen King was trying to say in the movie, and I think it's. I by the way, I still think that movie holds up today. I would love to see a modern remake of Maximum Overdrive just to see what we can all do. Because, and I also want Stephen King to say one last time, "Honey, the ATM just called me an asshole." Uh,
Speaking of a
uh,
movie where the director was high on cocaine throughout the entire movie.
everybody was on cocaine. It was everybody was on cocaine, and nobody could understand the Italian the Italian on the scene. That was the great part. But I would also like to see what would have happened if King got his way and got his original choice for the star, that being Bruce Springsteen instead of Emilio Estevez. I would just love to see Bruce Springsteen, like what he would have done. I mean, this is what born in the USA era Bruce Springsteen. I
Yeah.
I would love to have seen him try to act just to see what it would have looked like. Very morbid. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got at the moment
His
as
sister was in Sleepaway King too, I think.
hmm?
Right. So
And Lisa Simpson was in Maximum Overdrive if people
Hmm.
remember. Yeardley
we
Smith.
she was. She's my favorite character in the movie. Well, I mean, apart from the Green Goblin. I mean, obviously the Green
Yeah.
Goblin is the best character in the movie, but she is definitely one of the best. I love her so much.
I think that'd be the other thing I would change is the marquee on the bank every once in a while. I would love to have had it go fuck yourself instead of just fuck you.
You know, what's funny is I just last night, my boyfriend and I watched a screener of a new movie called Video Maniacs. Like it's coming out very shortly, and it's great. It's a very no budget trash horror film, and I absolutely loved it. But it opens with a couple arguing about the validity of Maximum Overdrive, and Kevin, the husband, is talking about how he just wishes, and I mean, it's obviously it's a really fucked up thing to say, but he's like, we need Stephen King back on cocaine because that was when we got the best stuff from him. And he's going off on this,
Yes.
sort of like tangent, like some directors need cocaine. Stephen King needed cocaine. It was a great little rant, though, of just how Maximum Overdrive is like one of the most brilliant movies and how much he wants to see Maximum Overdrive 2, which Emilio Estevez was going to make. And they're still talking about making it. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll get a new one.
I would just like for Stephen to take all his hatred for Trump and just bottle it up.
Yes.
Get your butt off Twitter for 5 minutes and write Maximum Overdrive 2, all right? Just take all that hate.
I think
Yeah.
Maximum Overdrive could be even more relevant today as we
Yes.
move into even closer and closer to more automation, artificial intelligence, everything. I mean, I think it would. There's definitely a new spin you could put on that versus remaking. I don't know, some of the other movies of his that they're. I mean, The Monkey, sure, great short story, make that. But there's also like, yeah, there's a lot to mine from that story for sure. So
I mean,
Agreed.
how ironic is it that he's primarily using a website of a guy who is gung ho into AI taking all of our jobs away, and I don't know how he can't write Maximum Overdrive 2 and it be just like this to Elon and to everybody that is just humping AI right now. Come on, Steve. We're waiting, dude. We're waiting.
And he doesn't even have to direct it this time if he doesn't want to. He can just write it and let, I don't know, insert whatever director to direct that. But yeah, at least write it. And you could even have like the guy who's like running the truck stop, the guy with the big Pat Hindle's the actor with a big old cigar. You could patter him out and make him look like a certain person that kind of owns a certain platform. I think would be kind of funny.
Well, Joe Hill, I think it was about 5 years ago. Joe Hill said he wants to actually do Maximum Overdrive 2. So
There you go.
if we can't get Steven, we'll get his son.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And Emilio Estevez wrote a full script for it
Yeah.
at one point, too. He wrote like a full script for Maximum Overdrive 2, and then it just never went. I don't know where that script is. I would love to see it, but I don't know.
Well, considering he's buying up all the studios in Hollywood, I don't think we need to depend on them to put that out anytime soon.
Yeah, that was a. Are we going to get ACDC to do the soundtrack again, or should we get someone else?
who would be the equivalent, like a more? I mean, I would be all about ACDC for that again, but what would be a more modern equivalent of what ACDC was in
Why not
in the 1980s?
Ramstein?
Yeah.
I don't know. See, that still feels really outdated for me. I don't know anything about new music. If it isn't like High Long, I haven't listened to it in the last like 15 years. So like,
Yeah.
I have no idea.
My musical knowledge stops about 2008 2009. So
100% same. 100%. Like my first thought was oh God, now I can't even remember their name. Never mind. It was it was like Dave Grohl. It was one of Dave Grohl's other projects for a minute.
Not Foo Fighters,
Not
but
Foo Fighters.
I know Lemmy was in it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
No, not Lemmy. No, it was like oh damn it, that's gonna kill me all night. It was they were very like very like Queen coded, but it was in the early 2000s, and I thought Dave Grohl was playing drums for them, and it might have even been like a member of Stone Temple Pilots. I don't know, but that was my first thought, and I shouldn't even have said it because I can't think of their name.
Oh, yeah, that's one of those things. I know what you're talking about, and I no, I can't remember what their name is, but you're right. It was Dave Grohl back on drums for the first time since Nirvana.
Right, and it just, that to me I could see, but again, that's really outdated. I don't have any like current music knowledge.
This is gonna bother me until I figure it out.
Yeah, me
Well,
too.
one band and they're not by any means a modern band, but given like the narrative of what this story could be, I would say Rage Against the Machine.
Rage could do it.
Mm,
Yeah,
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 yeah.
that's a good one.
Mm.
Uh,
Or if you wanted to go into a different genre of music, is Enemy still around?
I don't
I don't,
know.
I don't think they. I don't
No.
think
I've
they
been
play together anymore.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot of articles about rap fatigue, and
Oh,
that definitely comes from pop music.
Hmm.
Wait,
Um,
rap fatigue?
rap fatigue,
Okay,
because
what is that?
because
Yeah, I'm
think about
curious.
every pop artist now has to have some kind of rap on their album, and
oh,
I think
Oh.
that's why you're getting the Sabrina Carpenters and um, Chapel Roans now, and that's why Dua Lipa has become less popular lately. Is because everybody's got to have a rapper on their album, and it's just getting.
mm.
I
See,
can
this is
see
what
where
I'm
people.
talking about. I didn't know. I didn't even know this was a thing.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I can't remember
Rap
who
is
wrote.
now pop, so that's unfortunately.
Yeah,
So
hmm,
was it was
hmm.
it Dr. Patton that wrote that a couple weeks ago? I'm trying to remember who wrote it.
I
But yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, what about? Because I know they've broken up and gotten back together, or we could just have the one band that writes every soundtrack these days. How about Nine Inch Nails? Let's just go ahead and have Trent Reznor do it.
yeah, that works. That's perfect,
Oh yeah,
actually.
Trent
Yeah,
Reznor and Atticus Ross could do it. Like
yeah.
yeah, that could be fun.
I forgot that Dave Grohl was in Queens of the Stone Age for like a
Queens of
minute.
the fucking Stone Age. Sorry, I didn't mean to yell. That's the band. That's the band I was thinking of.
I was
Thank you.
thinking of
That
him,
was
and I
gonna
was like,
kill
no,
me.
that can't be it. So, because I forgot Grohl was technically in it. I knew that his Foo Fighters drummer played for them some, I think, but
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
Well,
I
I'll tell you though, like I know that Dave Grohl's not super popular right now because he had that like weird controversy with like his like whole secret life he was living or something. So I know that he got
oh, I
like
didn't know
semi
that.
canceled or something.
Whoa.
oh
Yeah, he had apparently I don't keep up with this kind of stuff. It's just things that don't quote me on it, but apparently he had like a whole secret life. He had like a woman with a baby in another like part of the country that was like but he was married. Anyway,
Wow.
he got kind of semi canceled for a minute, but the album that he put out for Studio 666, that Dream Widow album that he put out
yeah.
was so incredibly good. Like incredibly fucking good. And so like I don't know, maybe we could just get Dave Grohl to do the soundtrack to Maximum Overdrive too.
That actually is a very underrated movie too, by the way.
I love it. I thought it was
Yeah,
so much fun.
that
Pat
was a good
Smear
movie.
screaming his head off,
Yeah,
and like it was so much fun. Hmm.
Awesome. Kimberly, do you have a movie you'd like to fix?
yes. There's a lot. But the two that come to mind, the first one is The Strangers, which I hate that movie.
I
I can't
hate it
stand that movie.
too. I hate it too.
I hate
Kimber,
it
I
too.
love you, Kimberly.
Because
I think
it's
the
so
second one is.
freaking
I like the
annoying
second
and
one better.
so unrealistic. And some people will say, well, horror isn't unrealistic to begin with. But no, that movie really is stupefying unrealistic. Like, I mean, three strangers come to the house, they're terrorizing them. You're in your own house. No one knows your own house better than you do. Like, how can you be washing dishes and the man is standing behind you and you have no idea? Not, like this couple, it's so annoying. I just can't articulate how annoyed I am that they ran. Like, how long was the movie? Like 2 hours. They literally ran through their own house for
yes.
2 hours, running from three people, not all at the same time. And you couldn't tell me you couldn't fight them with anything. Like, they did not fight back a single moment in the entire movie. So annoying, so annoying. And to have Liv Tyler have no agency, just, oh my gosh, help me. Who are you saying help to? You're in your own house. Fight back. Oh my
Yes.
God. Oh, and then And then I know everyone loves the line "because you were home," which is technically
I hate it.
okay. It's a great line because there's no motive. But to me, like how I would fix it was like I would have her have that line be the pivotal moment and the turning point in the movie where she's like, okay, no one's coming to save us. I have to save myself. Like, give her agency. And the husband just took up space. Like, they just took up air. Like, no fighting back. They did not fight back the entire movie. So I just hate that movie.
It's almost like now that you mentioned it, made me think of "Speak No Evil." It's
That's
kind of
another one.
it's are you gonna
Yes.
fix that one, please? Go.
That's like who does this? No one does this in real life. Like no one acts like that in real
Thank
life.
you. I that is one trope I would love to have canceled forever is the oblivious trope.
No one like yeah.
Wait,
I agree.
explain what you mean by the oblivious trope.
They just it's just what Kimberly says. You're washing dishes in your own home and somebody's standing behind you. Like you
And you have
cannot
no clue.
yeah, and you
Right.
cannot tell me that you can't hear footsteps coming up
Okay.
behind you.
Like, where's your peripheral vision? It's your kitchen.
Exactly.
Like you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
the oblivion. Like okay, you're okay. Raise your hand. You're on vacation. You're at the breakfast buffet at your hotel, and a random couple comes to you. Hey, hi, how are you? Are you having a great time? You're cordial. You're polite. Yeah, sure. We're having.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a vacation home. Would you like to come to our vacation home for the?
Oh,
Sure.
hell no.
Like leave my hotel on vacation and come to these strangers. Who does that?
Oh, and on top of that, oh yeah, go ahead and bring your little 8-year-old daughter with you to
Right.
live with these total strangers you don't know.
Wait,
Yes.
what movie are you talking about? I've seen that.
That's
Is it called
Speak No Evil.
Speak No Evil? And then
Yeah.
they ended up like it just like the people that they
Yes.
go and stay with, like the people that stay there, they can't figure out a way to be like, yeah,
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
we're done here. Like they,
Yes.
oh, that
Yes.
bothered me
And it
so
escalates.
much.
And it escalates, and because they're trying. I think the point of the movie is like we're trying to see what's your limit to how cordial and polite you can be, and
Yes.
how can you ignore all the awkwardness and the just fucked
All the
upness
red
things
flags.
that are happening.
There are a million red flags that they just
Yes.
completely just glide on through.
Yes.
Too many.
Yes.
And I think for those of us here, and I think at least 4 of us here that are parents, or even if you're not a parent and you have a niece or nephew, you're gonna fight like hell. I don't care how much of a pacifist you are.
That
Um,
instinct kicks in.
you need to
Yeah.
fight or you're going to fight back at some
Yeah.
point, at the very least, to protect the child. You're not,
Of
even if
course.
it's not to
Yeah.
protect you. Yeah, and I haven't seen the American remake of that. I've only
Horrible.
seen
I
the.
mean, in my opinion, just
Yeah, I'm not
more
going
the
to
same.
watch it, even though I do like James McAvoy. But I'm not going to watch it because
Right.
the was it Swedish or Norwegian? I can't remember which, but and that's a movie too that had some promise to it. But yeah, like you said, it's like no one does that.
Yes.
No one does that. Like no one knows. Like back to the strangers. Nobody knows your house better than you. You're really like running around. You okay? If you can't fight, if you're freezing or whatever, hide in your like. You know where to hide. It's your house. You know what I mean? Like it's just so unreal.
See, that's so funny to me because I was so excited when you said that you hated The Strangers because I also hate The Strangers. And, which is so funny because I never thought about that aspect of the movie. But that's such a great fucking point, and it's definitely another reason to hate the movie. Because what I always kept thinking when I was watching The Strangers, and just knowing how hyped up it was, knowing how celebrated it was, everybody's saying it's like the best home invasion movie ever, and I'm watching it, and the whole time I'm watching it, I'm comparing it to Funny Games because I think that Funny Games is an amazing home invasion movie. Again, people being held captive in their own home, but they justify it immediately because they immediately incapacitate the husband,
Right.
who is they're also still fighting. And the whole movie, they're trying to figure out a way out of it, but they're just, and so like, and it happens during the day as opposed to, at night in the middle of the woods. In Funny Games, it happens in the middle of the day, in the middle of like a really ritzy suburb type place. And so you're right. Like, it's so true. Like, why did they not put, why didn't, they don't fight at all. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah.
And they're like screaming. They're looking outside their window and they're seeing the three of them just standing there like Michael Myers, just standing on the lawn, just staring at them. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, help! Are you serious?
Yeah.
They never once tried to leave their own house. They never once tried to like fight back. Nothing. So that's my first. My second one
That's
is
a good one.
Smile Part 2. And
Which
What
one?
is it?
Smile Part
What is
2.
it?
Oh, okay.
Smile.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And it's not a bad movie. I actually enjoyed the movie Small Part 2. I really like Small Part 1. Even though it's not as original as most people think it is. It's kind of like a copycat of Truth or Dare. But Small Part 2 is just more of the same of Small Part 1. Like, it was nothing, and I was so anticipating this movie, but when it came out, it was literally substitute a psychologist for a pop star. And it's the same exact movie.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. Nothing new. Like, we don't know where this demon, the origin of this demon. We don't know anything different or not a single new plot twist or aspect to the movie. Literally a remake of Part 1.
That's unfortunate.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one, and I was like, I was okay with
You've
the
already
first
seen it,
one.
Part 1.
Yeah, like if I've already seen the first one, then okay, I get. I was hoping that like the sequel would be called Frown instead of Smile.
Yeah.
That one's just frowning now, but
And it's like Trap, where it's like a concert. You know, you're basically watching a concert for like 95% of the movie. That's how Small 2 is. You're watching a pop star and the trials and tribulations of being a famous rich pop star that has a demon following her as a side note, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't seen the first Smile. I mean, I know that people were wild about it. It's been on my watch list for a long time, but I still haven't even seen the first one. And I very rarely don't watch movies because of bad reviews ever. Because I mean, I've built my whole fucking personality around defying bad reviews. Like, I don't normally let bad reviews deter me, but Trap is one of the very few movies that I have no interest in seeing it. And a lot of that comes from like my own personal like relationship as a viewer of Shyamalan's movies in particular, but like the reviews of Trap actually put me off of it. And that never happens to me. Like, I don't know that I'm ever going to see that movie.
I mean, I love Josh Burnett. I do love him, and he's great in horror. But you're watching this M. Night Shyamalan's daughter sing, and it's an actual real album. Like, she's a budding star, but 95% of her singing on stage.
Yeah, that's what I've gathered, and it just does not. It doesn't interest me at all.
It's not.
yeah, I just hope. Go ahead. I just hope they gave Josh Hartnett a good paycheck for it. He deserves it for his past performances, anyway.
Am I the lone Trap fan here? Is that what I'm hearing?
Wait,
My
you
son
like Trap?
liked it. My son thought it
I
was
haven't
good.
seen it. I haven't seen it.
Kyle, did you say that you like Trap?
Tell us why you liked it.
Yes,
Absolutely.
I'm so curious.
So this is probably going to sound weird. I'm trying to articulate this in a way it would make sense. So I went with my daughters to watch it, and my youngest is 15 now. So, and I wouldn't say it's a good movie. I think it transcends good and bad a little bit. There's a ton of silly things about it. And growing up in the 90s, Josh Hartnett was like, H2O and The Faculty and, some really great movies. So, that guy's as an actor's kind of been with me since kid. He's pretty close to my age. I'm early 40s. I think he's probably mid 40s. So anyway, but the storyline, take the serial killer aspect out of it. The storyline of a middle-aged guy taking his preteen daughter to a concert he's not into it all, but he's doing it for her. He would never be anywhere near it, except for to make his daughter happy. And then just navigating that. I connected with that part of it as a dad. I've been in that scenario before with my kids. So, and there's what I found really interesting about that movie that I think did a better job, in my opinion, than a movie I do strongly dislike, which is Long Legs. So where Long Legs took the perspective of us trying to understand our parents, and the things that we never know about them, that they keep from us, and we have this one. We all have this a certain perspective of our parents, right, from our point of view, good, bad, whatever the case may be. There's so much about our parents' lives outside of us that we'll never truly know, whether we know them or not. And so that was the perspective from Long Legs. But from the Traps perspective, it was from the point of view of the dad who is trying to separate. It's basically from a kind of a similar subtext, but also from the point of view of the parent instead of the child, where we again taking the serial killer aspect out of that. I want to I want to preface that we all, as anyone who has kids or has nieces and nephews that you're close with, we all keep a part of them, or we all keep a part of ourselves away from, our kids, mistakes we've made in the past, things. I just a plethora of things that we don't really show fully our kids. And so, is it being the butcher of Pittsburgh? Probably not. Hopefully not. But just in other ways, I think for being a parent, and being a dad of and having a daughter, I found that very fascinating. And taking out all the silly aspects of the movie, M. Night Shyamalan is an auteur who does his own thing and is able to be financed in a way to make his own movie. He's working out some stuff there as a dad, having his own daughter in the movie. And I think that those aspects of the Josh Hartnett butcher character is M. Night Shyamalan. So, and again, I realize all the weaknesses of that movie, and I'm probably diving deeper and dissecting and trying to pull out layers that's not really there. I don't know, but I found it fascinating. On top of the fact I loved Hartnett's batshit performance, I thought it was great. I also loved how he kind of like became almost. I was like, okay, is this going into the Unbreakable universe at the end? Is there like zapping him with multiple tasers and he's still getting up? Again, ridiculous movie, but and again, I'm probably on an island, castaway in this, but it's my favorite movie of his.
Hmm.
For real?
Really?
M. Night
Wow.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Hot take of
I love
the
the whole
year.
group reaction. That was amazing.
Is that one? Hey, my favorite of his is Knock on the Cabin, because I'm really generally not a big fan of his either, by and large. But Knock on the Cabin was probably my favorite that he's done.
it's good. Yeah, it was pretty good. I like The Village.
That's pretty good.
I
Mine is
love
Devil.
Village.
Mine is Devil and Split.
Okay.
Okay.
I I'm sorry, I don't enjoy any of his movies. I think The Village is the only one I ever really liked.
The Village.
But it had no replayability for me. That was my issue. I think especially when you build like your entire career on your what a twist, some people can go back and enjoy those movies and say, oh well, let's see if we can find clues as to what the big twist was. And then for me it I don't know. I did, however, come around to loving The Happening from a completely different perspective. Yeah, because I watched it during the pandemic, and I actually did a deep dive into the film for my podcast back when I was still doing the podcast. And like, I don't believe him when he said in retrospect that the movie was supposed to be farcical, that he was actually spoofing like B sci-fi films of the 50s. I don't believe that. I think he was just saying it to kind of save face in the wake of really bad reviews.
I
But
agree.
I look at it as a farce now and as a spoof on B movies, and I love it for that. Like, I think it's a really good bad movie. But yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't love Shyamalan. I'm just not a fan of him.
Sure.
But that's interesting about I think your perspective on Trap. That actually adds a new layer to it that actually kind of makes me. I don't have kids, but it does kind of make me want to watch it and kind of watch it from that perspective.
As soon as the podcast is over, I asked that everybody put it on and watch it, and then we'll discuss it next time. I'm joking. No, you talked about you just mentioned one of his being rewatchable. I'm blanking out on which one that was.
The
And that was
Village.
my biggest. I'm sorry.
The Village.
The
Maybe.
Village.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm blanking on that. That was the only thing I was going to circle back to The Strangers. That's my biggest problem with The Strangers is it was fine and it was a fine one. It's the ultimate one-time watch horror movie. It was like it was fine. I enjoyed it while I watched it, but I've never had a desire as much as of a modern classic as it's been considered in the last 25 years. It's just not one that I ever want to return to. And I actually prefer the sequel, Pray at Night. I think it is what the first one should have been, which is you talk about a family actually fighting back, trying to survive, the tragedy that comes with that. Again, going back to like from a parenting perspective, um, and then also children trying to save their parents. But there's also was a level of fun underneath that movie, and I think that's one. And I love dire, tragic, bleak horror films that are completely serious. I enjoy that, but I think with The Strangers, the fact that the sequel brings a little element of fun and style to it, I think elevates it to where is it better than the first Strangers? No, not necessarily, but I do think it is more fun. It's more rewatchable, and there is a specific scene in it involving a pool where you will never hear "Total Eclipse of the Heart." You'll never think of that song the same way ever again. And it is awesome. Like one of the best slasher scenes of this century so far. I would put it up there. It's excellent. So if you haven't seen Pray at Night, Strangers 2,
Mm-hmm.
I recommend it. So for sure.
Yeah. Liam and I, my boyfriend and I, just bought that on Blu-ray. Like we've always heard good things about it. We've been very curious about it. It's sitting right there by our DVD or right by our Blu-ray player, and I really want to watch it. It's going to have to happen soon.
Molly, watch it as soon as you finish Trap after this podcast. And watch Pray at Night. That's your homework. So
I
Yeah,
cannot
and
get
I
over.
will watch Trap. Oh,
I
sorry,
cannot get
Carrie.
over with Trapped. Like Kimberly was saying earlier, where it's like you have to. They're asking so much for you to suspend your disbelief, and I find that with Trapped, like the parts where he's ingratiating himself to the security guard and he meets a security guard and like 3 sentences later, security guard's like, yeah, come on back, come on to the back. That would not happen. Like there are so many things. Like if that were a Taylor Swift concert or a Beyonce concert or like any big
Well,
concert
he's
where
getting
there's like
paid.
major security and like the FBI is there or whatever, like that is not happening. And
you know,
so from
yeah,
then on, I just couldn't, I could not, I had to think of it as a farce or
it is. It's
something like
See,
that.
typically
Yeah.
a dark fairy tale. Because if
Hmm.
you and I'm sure there's plenty of films we could name like this, but if you don't just jump in its boat and row off out into the into the ocean and just
Unrealistic
accept
goals.
it, if you can, because if we
Yeah.
start you start like tearing apart the realities of like how it doesn't add up, like yeah, it's terrible, absolutely. Like I can't argue that I agree with all of that. I just have to like you're saying, take the perspective of it's like a modern dark fairy tale or something. None of
Gotcha.
it makes
right.
sense. It's the fever dream of an insane person.
Yeah. And see,
Yeah.
that's like I really do want to quickly say, if I can, just to kind of save a little face, because I don't want to seem like I'm just being a hater on Shyamalan. I know that that's kind of a trendy thing to do, and I'm not trying to be that. But that what you were talking about with like the conversation with the security at the concert, or for me specifically, like with The Happening or other films that he's done, The Village notwithstanding, because it was justified in The Village. My main issue with Shyamalan is I don't believe that he writes realistic dialogue. I am not a fan of the way he writes dialogue. It doesn't sound ever to me like real conversations that real people have. And so it's very difficult for me to invest in the characters because they never feel real and not real enough. Like, and I could go through every one of his movies and point out instances of like, yeah, that would just never fucking happen. And it all comes down to unrealistic dialogue. That and the fact that he has a severe phobia of old people. And I could not believe when he actually made Old, because I had been saying that about him for years. And then he just straight up made a horror movie called Old, where the monster is literally just aging. He has a very big fear of elderly people and of getting older, and I have a problem with that. But anyway, the point is, the bad dialogue, I think, can be easily kind of looked at, like what you were saying, Kyle, about kind of reframing the films to look at them more as fever dreams, as dark fairy tales, and that kind of helps ease the issues I have anyway with his unrealistic dialogue, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he very well might be an alien from one of the aliens from Science. I mean, he's not. He doesn't. I don't know that he's human, or at least okay. I don't know that he ever spent his life having real human interactions or
No.
conversations. That's something like, to me that is a feature and not a bug for what he makes, because it's because you're learning something about it. And I don't know this might be like just boring to a lot of people understand it, but like if you look at it from like this auteur director who writes, directs, really makes his movie for better or worse, he puts everything in on, he writes the scripts, it's all his vision, right? And down to editing everything. And is it a complete success? Never. I don't think he's made a perfect film. Signs may be I'm sorry, what's his first one? Sixth Sense
Sixth
maybe
Sense.
is
Sixth Sense, yeah.
maybe his best. I find it, it's like The Strangers to me. I find it absolutely unrewatchable. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it since I
same.
was in high school.
Hmm.
But yeah, just it's just a fascinating. Each film he makes is a fascinating exercise to me in just him, because everything he's putting into that is all him. So, like you mentioned, his fear of aging. His water plays into a lot of his narratives, and yeah, and so his dialogue being so bizarre and so unrealistic, it just plays into these worlds that he's building. That, and again, like I'm not trying to elevate Shyamalan to Hitchcock or someone like that. Like I think he's a very fun director to just follow. I do think he has a lot of talent in certain ways, and I don't take everything he does seriously. But he is a fascinating guy in a lot of ways. So, but I
Yeah.
do, again, the poor dialogue. You are not wrong at all. It is bizarre, but I kind of love it. I don't know. I kind of love it. So,
Kimberly, I want to ask you, because thinking about what Kyle just said, as you know, if you think about these films that are not quite believable, but think of them as fever dreams instead, like that helps me understand Speak No Evil. How does that, because I think you started out with Strangers, right? That you really hated because it was so unbelievable. Does that work for you? Does that help?
For that particular movie, no.
Okay.
Like, I just think, I mean, especially with Liv Tyler's character, Kristen, I mean, no. She never once fought back, ever.
Yeah.
And it is just like, I mean, fight back and still die. I'm not saying she has to survive the end. Like, but I want, have her do something and then still have the ending where you had where it's why us? Because you were home. Fine. Like sometimes you're not going to overpower three people. I get it. But I mean, damn, put up with some kind of fight.
Right.
Well, I
Totally.
think too with the fever thing, dream thing. It depends on the context of what type of horror we're talking about.
That makes
Exactly.
sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
With Shyamalan, often has supernatural elements
Yes.
to his films.
Mhm.
So in that case, yeah, you could look at it
Yes.
that way.
Good point.
Whereas,
Mhm.
like The Strangers or Speak No Evil, there's nothing supernatural. This is like
Right.
real life
Right.
horror
Mhm.
where there's no
Mhm.
not necessarily any supernatural or monsters or a mass killer or vampires or witches or anything like that. It's just straight up, these are bad people, these are good people, but how these good people are going to react in the situation. And that's what probably I think
That makes
hurt
sense.
Speak No Evil for both Kimberly and myself, and I don't know who else, but
I have not
Right.
seen it yet.
hmm?
Sorry. Sorry.
Oh, Speak No Evil.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah,
seen it
but
yet, personally, so I need to.
I need to as well. But I do think that that is a really good approach, like the whole dark fairy tale thing. I was thinking about like a long time ago I did I was like sort of a gag review on April Fool's Day of Sleepless in
Mhm.
Seattle. Okay, I promise this is going to loop back around. I hate Sleepless in Seattle. Hate it so much. And I don't like romantic comedies in general. There are some that I do, but it's not my favorite genre. And what I was saying in my review of that was that one of the reasons that I hate it so much is what an unrealistic depiction it is of relationships. It creates all of these horrifically awful expectations, especially in the minds of young women who watch them, and like all this stuff, right? And my friend Deuce commented on the review and he was like, dude, it's a fantasy story. Like all rom coms, they're just fantasy stories. You just look at it like a fairy tale and you don't have to worry about
Mm.
the realism or the, real world implications and stuff like that. And I like to try to remember that whenever I'm forced to watch a romantic comedy, which does happen sometimes. And I think that it would be good to kind of approach those stark reality horror films. But I see what you're saying though. Like if the point is it's supposed to be stark reality, it is hard to look at it as a fantasy. Like with The Strangers, it's so hard to look at that and say, "Oh no, this is just a fairy tale,"
Yep.
because they're trying so hard to sell you on the realism.
Mhm.
But I think it'd be good to kind of try to look at it more that way for a lot of different movies. Of like, okay, this is just a fairy tale like anything else, you know.
Mm.
Anyway.
That's interesting.
I think, at least with, I can't speak for The Strangers, but is it Speak No Evil? Is that the title? I'm blanking out. Is it Speak
Yeah,
No
Yeah.
Evil?
Speak No Evil.
So at least the original, which again, to your point, I don't remember if it's Norwegian or Swedish. I feel like it's Swedish, but I could be wrong.
I think so.
But I believe that the writer director was speaking to some cultural,
Mm.
possibly governmental issues there. So I don't know if because sometimes that's I try to look at it that way too. And again, this I have not seen that movie, so I can't speak to it. But just as an example to something like that, if it's not realistic, but the point is that it's not realistic, and that those parents or whoever those characters are behaving in a way that doesn't make sense to us or how we would act in real life, if that is the point behind it, like the subtext of like,
Hmm.
yes, in relation to whatever point they're trying to make broader, right? So if it's just like The Strangers, where I don't know that there's anything under the surface beyond what you get,
I don't
at the
think there
text
is.
level.
Yeah.
So so that probably is not really. I wouldn't even maybe even put that within the framework of a fairy tale or dark fantasy or
Mhm.
anything like that. But I guess for me, it depends on the purpose or the point of what those actions from the characters are. If I know what that is, right? So, and it may still not work regardless, but it might make me appreciate where it's coming from if I have some insight into like what the writer director, who what they were trying to say in that inaction. If that was even the point, it may not be. They may just not understand how people would act in that situation. They could have been it, but again, this is did not have not seen it. So, but with The Strangers, I've never thought of that in any other way than just trying to be a pretty realistic and very bleak
Mhm.
post. I'm like you. I never really cared for the torture porn moniker, but that just very bleak, just
Mhm.
you know, film. So very different than like a Shyamalan joint. So
Right. It's
Right.
harder to look at it as a fantasy because of the context. Like like
Right.
what Josh was saying. I think it really does depend on the delivery system, the type of movie it is. And I also
Yeah,
agree with Kimberly that it doesn't fix the strangers, that's for sure.
yeah. And I
well,
think the point of the strangers, I mean, I'm assuming that the directors they had the ending in mind because they wanted to have that ending of there was no motive. They were home, they were chosen, we're gonna kill you, the end. That's like the big shock factor or the big twist of the movie's motive and point. Like you were home. Like I have no reason the only reason why I'm doing this is because you were home. You answered the door, and you were home.
Mm.
But I think when you take a movie like Hostel, which you could say it's torture porn, like The Strangers, right?
Mhm.
And there is no happy ending. It is bleak. The ending is bleak, just like The Strangers is supposed to be. But The Hostel to me is such a realistic movie.
Yes.
All the
Mhm.
actors,
Mhm.
how everyone played out, it was so well done and so realistic.
Mhm.
Like I believed it from the beginning to end, and that's why I love the Hot. Like that's one of my favorite
Oh wow.
franchises. It's so
Yes.
good. And I felt like if the directors of The Strangers were to take that same perspective and say, okay, let's in real life you would fight back. You would fight, and you're a couple. It's two of you, not just let's just say, oh, it's not just the helpless girl by herself. It's a couple, and you never once looked at your husband and said, let's fight back. Like you know what I mean? So I love The Hostel so much because it's just so well done, and it doesn't have a happy ending, and it's very violent, gory, and bleak, and all the things.
Well, and I also feel too that Hostel, there was no need for, because the thing that I personally don't like about The Strangers is the final line. I hate it. It was the reason I hated the movie. It killed the movie for me because I didn't feel like, first of all, it was necessary. But I also agree with you that it really feels like they had that line and they
Yep.
just built the whole movie in front of it. They were like, okay, we want to end the movie with this line, this super profound line,
Yes.
because
Yes.
you were home. And it's like, you don't need to say that. If you make your movie well, you
Right.
don't need to say, you don't need to, it was so on the nose and so,
Right.
like, whereas Hostel, Funny Games, and other movies of the like, they don't need to say it because it's inferred and it's because they just did it well. And that was my issue with The Strangers, was it was like, this feels like Home Invasion light. It feels like Home Invasion for people that need it spelled out for them. And,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah, it
Well,
would have been
and
like if in the Carpenter's original Halloween, if in the the final battle, Jamie Lee Curtis is like, "Why are you doing this to me?" And Myers lifts
yeah.
his mask and is like, "Because you're home." So
yeah,
I don't.
exactly. Or just like looks directly at the camera and says, I'm an allegory for all evil and corruption. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to say it.
I was thinking about that. Was it I spit on your grave? Oh,
Oh, yeah.
you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right?
You think?
I mean,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, excellent. So, Carrie, do you have a movie that you have seen that you were like, guys, if I could have only written this script for this, it would have been so much better?
I do. I have several. Other than I feel like ever since I saw Halloween, and we talked about this in the Final Girl live, Lori, come on, girl. Like, no, I don't like how she doesn't have agency, and it ends up being the inspector guy that like he saves the day. But I understand, the context and that it was paving the way, for things to, what we have now today. So okay, fine. Has anyone seen the new Frankenstein?
No,
Anyone?
yeah.
not yet.
Okay.
Yes.
My main thing with that one, I love Guillermo del Toro. I think he's so weird, and I loved The Shape of Water. I loved Pan's Labyrinth. Um, but the monster is too pretty, too
That's
good
what I keep
looking,
hearing.
and I
Maybe
get it, right?
say that
I
pretty much
get what
long
he's
ago.
doing. There's a reason why, because he is humanizing the monsters and he's monsterifying the human. right? And we see that so loud and clear. So loud and clear, in fact, that the monster even tells Frankenstein or somebody, I can't remember. I don't think it was the monster. Oh, the Mia Goth character tells Frankenstein, "You're more of a monster than blah blah." Which, to your point, Molly, I did not need that line. That was
Nope,
obvious.
nobody should need that. Nobody needs that line.
No, no one needs it.
It's
But
almost
yeah,
like
the monster character was too pretty. It was like they took a model and then they were like, "Oh, let's do a couple cuts." But I'm like, he's still
I'm
hot.
glad.
Come
I'm
on.
so glad you're doing this because I liked Frankenstein, but everyone
Mhm.
else seems to think it's are gushing over it, and I'm like, I think Frankenstein looked like, oh, what's the actor's name? Paul Bettany playing the Vision in the Avengers movies.
Yes. Yeah,
That's what he looked
that
like.
is exactly what I thought. He looks so much like Vision. I was just, yeah, because the part of Frankenstein, yeah, it's because Frankenstein's Frankenstein is the actual monster. We get that, but
yeah.
also we're torn because the monster is also monstrous, and he's not at all
Oh, really?
Right.
monstrous to me. Yes, I
Oh,
mean, you kind of get little glimpses before you really meet him, at the beginning. But so there's that. Um, Heretic. I loved the
oh,
first
yes, 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 yes.
goddamn half of that movie.
Yeah,
And everything in I mean the whole first half where they're in the living room and the candle and
I agree with everything you're about to say.
dread, dread,
Mhm.
dread. Oh,
Same.
I can hardly handle it. And then everything from like we go back to the second room and they talk about all the games forward. I was like, what are we doing here? And then they got into like I I don't know how to fix it, so I'm coming to the table with a problem that I don't know how to fix. I excuse my elbow. I need that same level of dread the whole way through, and I need it to amp, and instead it did it
Mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm.
know. But
Mhm.
first part of the
Mhm.
movie, oh my gosh, like I was crawling up out of my seat. I was so uncomfortable, and I loved it. That was so great.
Mhm.
Um, has anyone seen the movie Men?
Oh
I
Uh,
God,
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I saw it.
horrible.
okay,
Mhm.
I get the point, but poorly executed.
yes.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think the
Bingo.
problem with Men, which I love the idea, right? Okay, so for anyone that hasn't seen it, it's this woman who has had she's a widow, she's had some trauma. She goes and has this like relaxing week or whatever in this Airbnb out in the country, in the English countryside. Well, there's one man that keeps coming around, and it's the same actor that plays all the different characters. It's like a vicar and a gardener and all. It's the same man. And then at the end, it's so weird. Like he ends up like giving birth to himself, like giving birth to this. I know it's so strange, but I think here's the fix. I think it was written by a man.
Yep.
That movie,
I knew you were gonna say that.
oh, that movie needed to, because the whole idea of that movie is that is how I feel out in the world with men I don't know. And that speaks to my own trauma. But like I cannot get like this woman cannot get away from these men. Um and they are all just like hell bent on making her on intruding on her life. She cannot get away. And I feel like if it was written by a woman, like what I feel like what they're doing with that movie is they're showing what women feel like
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis. But it needed to have been written by a woman, because if it had been written by a woman, the main character, Harper, would be like, by the end, she'll find her agency. She'll start blowing those fuckers up. She'll start like she'll realize something toward about
Mm-hmm.
2/3 in to the movie. And she'll start being like, hell no. And she will start cutting those motherfuckers. That's what I wanted. That's what I didn't get. And it needed to,
Mhm.
sorry, it needed to have been written by a woman. And then finally, and then I will stop. And this I think might be the most unpopular take, but or Hereditary, I always
Uh-huh.
say it wrong. Hereditary, I feel like there's no character arc with any of the characters at all. It's just it's like humans versus fate. Like it's all this fate that it has to happen. It's in the stars, and instead of like people making decisions, it's just people unraveling. And I love the movie. I watch it and I enjoy it, and I have a it's a great old time. And the part where Annie is losing her shit, I'm like, yep, you go, Tony Collette. Let's
Mhm.
go. Like to me, that is she does some fine acting in that movie.
She should have won the Oscar. She wasn't even nominated.
A
Yep,
couple of
One
them.
hundred
yep,
percent. One hundred
yep.
percent.
Yeah.
But
Fantastic.
I also just feel like it's like, well, the grandmother set some shit in motion, back and then all these characters are like, well, like I don't feel like anyone has a character arc. None of it's character driven. It's all fate and it's all dread and it's all bad. And it's not that I need things to wrap up into a
Hmm.
happy little bow. One of my very favorite horror movies is Saint Maud, and that is
Oh,
the
love that movie.
bleakest
Love it.
movie. I mean, it is so
Love that movie.
It's
fucking
good.
good. And the last like 3 seconds of that movie, you're like,
Yeah.
Right.
So good.
it changes everything.
Great 3 seconds
Good.
too.
Oh my gosh. So I don't need it to be happy. I don't need it to
Mhm.
have a bow, but I need like even in Saint Maud, which ends just so what? Like it's so bleak. You can follow her arc where she just ramps up and
Mhm.
she's ramping up and she's ramping up till at the end.
Mhm.
So
I
thoughts?
agree 1,000%. I love Hereditary, and I love Toni Collette, and I love her monologue, and I love
Yeah.
Supernatural, and I love Ari Aster, and I love just I do love that because I believe in that stuff in like in real life. Like the grandmother did some shit, and she guaranteed her riches, and to hell with her future generations. They got
Yep.
to deal with that shit, and it happens, and I feel like there's like 90% you can't run from it because that's what was put on you.
Mhm.
However, I feel like we were following Toni Collette and figuring out like, she's like delving into it and she's trying to figure stuff out and she's investigating and she's meeting with this, this the late her fake friend and and she and not that she's investigating, but she's unraveling her relationship with her son
Mm-hmm.
and putting two and two together with her mother and all that stuff. But then to have her just 1 minute she's doing that and the next minute she's fully possessed, like fully
Yes.
possessed.
I'm like,
Like
where
there's
did
no
we
in
go?
between. Yeah, like there's and she
Yes.
was like trying to explain to her husband and it just went from 0 to 10. Like wait, like right, there was no in between rising, and I just felt like damn. After all of that, she just gets got. Like
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up Hereditary because that's a movie that's always been like an 8 out of 10 for me. I've always put it,
Mhm.
which is still pretty good. There, it's not a movie that I watch very. I've only seen it twice. It's
Tough
just,
watch.
yeah, it is a tough
Oh,
watch, and I've always wondered why am I not giving this movie say a 9 or a 10 out of 10? And I think you nailed it. You're
yeah.
right, and I never really thought about it. There
Mhm.
isn't really much of a character arc amongst any of these characters. Where they start in the film all grieving and all trying to deal with it is exactly pretty much how they end up. It's just, one person becomes, I don't know what he's supposed to be, a witch, I guess, or possessed
Paimon
by a
or
witch. The
uh-huh.
Yeah,
mom
Demon.
gets
He's
Demon,
one
mom
of
yeah.
up to
the
the
like
ceiling, banging her
17.
head. The father gets torched. It's like, okay, it maybe was the ending. Maybe the ending put me off a little bit, but
I
you're
think
you're
I think
right.
everyone at the end was like, "I agree with you." Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think the
Like,
movie's
oh, okay.
I think the movie's biggest weakness for me was and after I came away from it after seeing it in the theater, I liked it more and more, and I genuinely enjoy that movie. I think it's a fantastic movie, and I maybe like his second film as much, if not maybe a little bit more. Midsommar.
Oh, I love that
Um,
movie.
But I think with Hereditary, my biggest problem coming out of it was that so much of the storyline beats felt I had seen all of it in other films, The Wicker Man, The Exorcist. There was a lot of things that I'm not saying he stole, but he homaged his things that he wanted to kind of mix into this patchwork of a horror film and family trauma and all those issues, which is great. And I've come to appreciate the movie for that instead of knocking it for those reasons. But really, I think the scariest part of that movie, I don't know if this is what he's going. I don't know for sure what he's going for, but for me, the more I thought about it, and I agree that there doesn't seem to be a character arc for anybody except maybe the demon. I think Payman has he gets to
Yeah.
move throughout. But you're putting yourself in Tony Collette's shoes, not as a woman or a man, but just as a human being. We can never control what our parents do when it comes to raising us and the decisions that they make that affect us. We also can't craft our children to grow up to be who we want them to be. We can never control our parents and what they've done and what they continue to do, and we can never control our kids as they age and change. And you could have a parent who, whether literally or figuratively, sold their souls, that ends up affecting you negatively. And you can try as hard as you can with all the trauma that you experienced with your parents and try to make a better life for your kid. And they can still, at the end of the day, end up becoming a piece of shit demon, right? So, like, it's scary. It's scary. And
Mhm.
so I love that about it. Even though I agree there's not that character arc there. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes maybe we just don't have them. I don't know. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
It
a
just
good
I
movie.
think
Yeah.
I think it's hard for me, and I mean, we all have our reasons why we watch horror. I think a massive one for me, is about like there's already so much things that we have to deal with in our own world and our own trauma, that when we have characters that they change and there's something that pursues them and there's something that's really scary, something that's really hard, and they transcend. I'm not saying everyone has to transcend,
Mhm.
but I love, especially when it comes to, female characters, I long for agency in a horror movie, because I want to see someone, the horror that happens in here reflected on the screen, and for something to be worked out, for there to be an arc. I'm not saying it has to end well, but at least for there to be an arc where there's change, somebody learns something, something happens. And I think that's what's hard when you have characters that don't move. And I get it. I get what they're I get, and that makes total sense to me, Kyle. Like the idea of like, sorry, somebody in, generations ago set something in motion that you can't change, and you can try, but you're not going to, because it's now you're locked in. If I were to actually believe that in real life, it would be a sad day for me.
Right.
We
I
all
got
have
you.
generational trauma. We all,
Mhm.
I mean, we've inherited things from our ancestors, whether, because of behavior or down to they're figuring out it's buried in your genetics. And everything within me screams absolutely fucking no when I hear that you know, if that's really the message of the movie, that like, well, shit happens and you can't do anything about it. I'm like, Hereditary is the worst movie ever. Now I don't believe that, but so yeah, respond, because I know I'm probably missing something.
I
Maybe
think
there's
it's really,
something.
oh, sorry, Kimberly. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, what do you guys think about Paranormal Activity? Because basically, it's the same premise.
Paranormal Activity.
Prior generations putting, for riches, and then eventually,
Yeah.
the demon or the devil is coming to collect in future generations.
Mm.
So, how do you feel about the character arcs across those movies?
I've not seen those movies, so
I mean,
Um,
I've only
can't
seen a
speak
little
for
bit
them.
of the first because I'm not a big found footage person, so I
Mm.
haven't really seen enough.
Well, I am so sorry, and I'm especially sorry to Yanni. I absolutely fucking love the Paranormal Activity films, but I am a huge found footage fan, and
I am
also
too.
it's really interesting to me because just to hear, that sort of perspective, I hadn't really thought about the fact that there aren't any arcs in Hereditary. Um, I do think that there is a bit more character development in the paranormal franchise. If you watch all of the films, like you have the character of Allie, who, we first meet in Paranormal Activity 2, and she's brought back in 5, and she has learned something, and she's applying what she learned as a survivor in 2 to try to help people in 5. And so there is some character work in the paranormal franchise, much more so than Hereditary. But one of my, and I'm a huge fan of Triumph Over Evil. Absolutely. As a diehard slasher fan, that's my, wheelhouse. Is I love the formulaic almost Triumph Over Evil with the arc of the hero, particularly women. I love that. But personally, for me, one of my favorite sort of tropes in horror is a character who tries really, really hard, like works their ass off to solve a mystery. And they do, but it changes nothing about the outcome. Like within the Mouth of Madness, Dead and Buried, Hereditary, I think also falls into that category. You have this character who's thrust into this difficult situation, thrust into the heart of this mystery, and they are working so hard. They're killing themselves, in fact, to solve this mystery and to figure it out. And they do. And it changes nothing. And I really find that very interesting because I do think it's reflective of real life. That yes, sometimes we do conquer our demons, sometimes we do triumph over evil, but there are also aspects of life over which we have absolutely no control, no matter how much we want to, no matter how much we wish we could control the situation, we can't. And in trying to control it, we lose our fucking minds. I'm living proof of that. As an agoraphobic, everything that I do in my life kind of comes down to this sense of wanting to control the world around me and literally panicking when I can't. And it's, so to me, that is also an interesting aspect of filmmaking and of storytelling, of looking into those situations where, like, I know you said you didn't need a bow, but at the same time, like, even just sometimes we don't learn, sometimes we don't learn, and sometimes we really are just in a shit situation that begins with shit and ends with shit. And I don't know, I like those little windows. Same with Paranormal Activity. I don't know. Like,
I think that's what I really like about folk horror too.
yeah,
Is
folk horror
for
is
that
very much like
reason, it's you just said it right there. You're probably going back to your home. Like some of it is you're going back to your hometown. Some of it is you're just randomly there. But it's like you're trying to solve generational trauma, and you just end up getting sucked into it. And you
that.
when you realize there's nothing you can do,
Yeah.
you're right. You snap.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
guess in a way, kind of like Midsummer. If you really want to
That's
look at
exactly
her
what I
that
was
way,
thinking.
yeah,
Yes,
you just
but
get sucked right into it.
and that's
Mhm.
Ari Aster too,
Mhm.
as the director. But even though Danny, that's the character's name, right? Danny from
Hmm.
Midsummer.
Mhm.
Even though Danny, I mean, she's the May Queen at the end. I mean, her boyfriend has been burned to a crisp. All of the friends that are there are all dead. Like on. I like that because on one reading of that is that she is trapped in this ritual and she can't get out. Right. Another reading is no, she's totally won. And I like that even though you can read it both ways. You can read it like, "Oh, this is Hereditary," where the protagonist doesn't win in the end. In fact, they're spectacularly caught, like almost like a spider catches a fly. But
Mhm.
we can read it both ways, and that's what's interesting to me is that your
Mhm.
perspective of it and how you read it can change the meaning. And I don't
Absolutely.
find that in Hereditary, but I do find it in Midsummer.
That's
Have
really
you guys seen
interesting.
Dark and the Wicked?
Hmm?
What is it?
Have you seen the Dark and the Wicked?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
That
a
plays
couple
into
years
our
ago.
conversation beautifully.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, put this on your list to watch after and reflect back on our conversation. It's such a good movie about trauma and, like you were saying, Maya, like it's a shit situation, and it starts with shit and ends with shit. But Carrie, you will like it because there is some more character development than I would argue Hereditary. But it's
Yeah.
really good movie.
This conversation is already like two movies have just popped in my head that kind of go along the same way. The Fall of the House of Usher is when you're talking about something that the parents did, and no matter what, the children are going to suffer the consequences of it, especially in the Netflix series, which I really enjoy. And I don't like watch too many series, but that was one. And the other one, if you think about it, is The Fog. Because of what these ancestors, the founders of this town, did, uh, they've brought these ghosts upon them, and in the end, the ghosts pretty much got what they want. Father Malone still got his, at the end. I mean, everyone else survives, but pretty much the ghosts got what they wanted, and they were going to get one way or another. So
But see,
that's
I think it does go back to what Carrie was talking about, because there is some really solid, a very solid, I mean, albeit it's a little two-dimensional because none of the characters really get a whole lot of exploration or development in the fog because it's such an ensemble
right,
piece.
right.
But like Father Malone does have a really solid arc in that. I love that he actually reaches a point where he's prepared to step up and take responsibility for what his ancestors did. And we see him go, be in denial. He goes through like all the stages of grief before
Right.
walking into that chapel, and I really like that. So I think it does have kind of like, as Kimberly was saying too, like with Dark and the Wicked, again, I haven't seen that, but I think that The Fog is a really good example of one that has sort of the best of both worlds, that sort of that inevitability and that generational trauma that cannot be escaped, but with the character development and with that Father Malone having that agency of saying, okay, I understand this generational trauma and I'm prepared to sort of walk headlong into the consequences of that, of my own accord. So yeah,
Right.
it's a really good balance, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Could I just, I'm so sorry. I just wanted to say one other quick thing real quick. Circling way back to the first movie, Carrie, that you were talking about with Halloween. I
Yes.
just have to say, it means so much to me to hear somebody else say that about Laurie. I actually just wrote a piece on this like a few weeks ago. I love Laurie Strode. She's one of my favorite final girls, and I love her in the first two films. But I do not think of her as the hero of the first two films at all. I think Loomis is the hero of the first two films. And that's why I love H2O, because in H2O, she is the fucking hero. And
Yeah.
she really gets, her own story. And you said you hadn't seen Halloween 2, right? Not yet?
I haven't.
I apologize in advance. I do highly recommend it. Absolutely. It's one of my favorites. I grew up on it. But everything that you didn't love about the first Halloween in terms of Laurie, she's practically unconscious for half of Halloween too. So
Oh
just
God.
mentally prepare for that. She's laid up in a hospital bed for a large portion of the film. And so like whenever people say like Laurie Strode is the final girl in relation to the first two Halloweens, I'm like, yes,
Right.
but also kind of no,
Completely
so
agree. And also Halloween Ends. I mean, that fight scene is my freaking favorite fight scene of all time when she is just, I mean, toe to toe
Mhm.
tussling with him in that, and she's an older woman, and
Yeah.
she is tussling with him, and you can
Yep.
see like how she's evolved from that not really not really doing anything in the first Halloween
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
looking at Dr. Doom is like, is it over? And then Halloween
Yeah.
ends where she's like, like I'm gonna pin you down. It's over. It's over. So good.
Mhm.
So good.
No, it's so true, and I really do think with the new Halloweens that it's so easy to tell if you are a fan of Halloween for Michael. And maybe this doesn't apply to everybody, but in my experience, if you're a fan of the Halloween franchise for Michael, you hate Ends. if you're a fan of the Halloween franchise for Laurie, you love it. And that really does seem to be like the dividing line. Because I love Ends. And and I hated Kills. Kills is Michael's movie. I like Michael Myers, but I don't like Kills. I like Ends because of what it does for Laurie. I don't know. That's just, it depends on what you're there for,
Oh no, I was there for Corey Cunningham all the way. That's who I was there
Blasphemy.
for. Or was it Richie Cunningham? No, he was on Happy Days. Never mind.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you. I just wanted to say massive kudos. Thank you for saying what you said about Laurie, because I feel like it's a very hot take, even in, like especially in as women who are really into horror. I have found a lot of pushback from people when I try to talk about how I feel about Laurie in the first two movies, and
She's not even in
so
my
it's just
top
really
five Final Girls.
yeah.
No, and like I said, like the first two Halloweens are more or less Loomis, and it's kind of earned because he's the one who spent the last whatever
Oh yeah,
15 years dealing with.
I
So it
love
makes
Loomis.
sense that he would be the one to kind of take him out at least for a couple movies anyway, and then he transitions, into being going. It's almost like watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, the young Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then the older Obi-Wan Kenobi almost, using that thing. But yes, Laurie, whether it's H2O or 2018, which you could have easily ended it right there with 2018 almost, or with Ends, that's where she really kind of steps up, uh, being the main. I would say the final girl of those movies in that regards. I mean, she goes from being a survivor then to being, I guess you could say, a conqueror if you want to go that route.
Yeah,
And
for
that's what
sure. But
pissed me off about Resurrection so bad is you had this great epic ending in H2O, and then the next you just basically sprayed
nothing,
diarrhea all over it.
nothing pisses me off more than that. I mean, I really had a hard time accepting the new Halloweens. And Josh, you and I have talked about this a lot. I loved seeing a woman over 60 as a heroine at the forefront of horror. That is my fucking jam. But
Yep.
I was so happy with H2O and what they gave Laurie in that movie. I was so disappointed that they couldn't just leave it at that, and let that be the perfect ending to the Halloween franchise. In my opinion, H2O was perfect, but they had to fuck it up with Resurrection. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I am entertained as hell by Resurrection. I really am. When Busta Rhymes lays into Michael and he's yelling at him. And Michael just like stands there and takes it and then walks away. That was
No,
fucking
like
hysterical. Like, but I hate, I do hate the story. So, yeah.
I hate that I love it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. But anyway.
all right, well, great, great conversation so far. We of course have Thanksgiving coming up. There aren't like a ton of Thanksgiving horror movies that I can think of. Um, my personal favorite is Thanksgiving, just because it's so stupid that I enjoy it. It's not a very long film. It's like 70 minutes, I think, of a killer possessed turkey going gobble gobble MNFer, and so ridiculous. But I mean, and of course, we've got Christmas horror coming up. I'll be writing about Christmas Bloody Christmas, which was a Shudder original from a few years ago on the Substack. Here for too long, but what are some of your, and obviously Black Christmas is an obvious favorite for most people.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite holiday, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's? Because there's only like one New Year's Eve horror I can really think of, and I know it's a favorite of Molly's, but
Is
I do love
Krampus
Terror
good?
Train. I think Terror Train is amazing.
Yeah.
What is it?
Terror Train from 1980. Also starring Jamie Lee Curtis, and in my opinion, her best final girl ever is Elena Maxwell in Terror Train. Yeah, like toughest final girl she ever played, in my opinion. Well, prior to Laurie and H2O.
But have you seen the Tubi original remake?
I did
It's
very
pretty good.
reluctantly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. I really did. I have such an issue with remakes. I am one of those
Yeah.
horror fans that has a huge issue with most remakes, and because my question is just why?
Why?
Why are we remaking them? Is it necessary? And with Terror Train, they made such arbitrary changes. Like the pronunciation of Elena's name is different. But, and like they changed some of the costumes up, that the characters are wearing. Because in Terror Train, it's a costume party on a train. And they changed some of the costumes the characters are wearing. But for the most part, it is a shot for shot completely exact copy of the original Terror Train. So they didn't modernize it for a younger audience, really. And so that's why I'm like, what was the fucking point? Like, if you're not going to change it to make it more relatable for the new generation, then don't. Why remake it? It just made no sense to me. But it was fine. It was
It's
okay.
fun. Yeah.
Such a good point you
Anyway,
just made.
I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. Sorry.
Well, to go on a tangent off of your tangent, this is why I like the remake to Fright Night so much because it's
Yes.
modernized. And
Mm-hmm.
I just
Yep.
realized that the moment you just said what you said.
Yeah, and the only thing I wish that they would have kept, because I love the Fright Night remake as well. I think it's fantastic. I get such a kick out of it. The only thing I wish they would have kept is the satire, because I felt like because what I love about the original Fright Night is that it is a satirical film, and it had something to say. They really were making a pretty a pretty what I thought was a pretty heartfelt statement about like the death of gothic horror and the rise of the slasher and how one era of filmmaking to another. And I felt like the new Fright Night really wasn't satirizing anything, and that kind of bummed me out a little bit. But other than that, I think it's fucking fantastic. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to deter us from that. But
Oh.
my answer would be Terror Train, and also Anna and the Apocalypse is my favorite Christmas horror movie. I wanted to write about it, but it's already been claimed for Scare Stack. So I'm going to be writing about Silent Night, Deadly Night, which I'm also very excited about because I do enjoy that film very much as well. But Anna and the Apocalypse is, I think, the best Christmas film.
I'm excited to take so because I've not seen Anne and the Apocalypse. So the fact and H. Duke is writing on that one. She just beat you to it, Molly.
Mm.
No, it's totally. I'm excited to read her take on it because I'm just glad somebody else loves it. I don't hear people talk about it often enough, and I know that it's a musical, and that's kind of a deterrent for some people. But I think it's one of the best zombie movies ever made, and I think that it's a brilliant Christmas film, and it's just a damn fine movie, and it gets me in the gut and. I love it. So I'm really excited that somebody else claimed it because that means other people like it and I'm not the only one. You know?
It's going to motivate me to actually watch it this year. So before it comes out,
I tell you
I'm
what,
looking
I'll watch
forward.
Trap if you watch Anna and the Apocalypse.
Nice.
Hey, sounds good.
Sounds like a
Well, I'm
fair
sure Trap will
trade.
be a chore for you to rewatch that. So I'm actually looking forward to Anne and the Apocalypse. So, but hopefully you'll come away from Trap liking it a little bit more. So
Hopefully.
for sure,
Has anyone seen Krampus? It's on my list.
Mhm.
Yes.
love
Mhm.
Krampus.
Love
Or
it.
Not?
Krampus. You say
Okay.
Krampus or
Mhm.
Krampus?
Yeah.
What do y'all think? You say Krampus or Krampus?
Depends if you
I
live
always
in.
thought it was Krampus.
Depends on where you live. If it's in
Okay.
Mhm.
Germany, you say Krampus, I think, and
Krampus.
Okay.
Krampus
Okay.
here in the United States.
I like Krampus better. It sounds less crampy. So I like that.
Such a
Yeah,
good
it's
movie, Carrie. So good.
Is it? Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. Because
it's
I've
from the
Mhm.
been.
Really
director
fun.
who made Trick or Treat. So, but it's very very good. I wish, and this is the 10-year. So it came out in 2015 originally, and so we're at the 10-year anniversary, and I don't feel like that movie is like the classic that it should be, or like remembered as like in the
Hmm.
same way that maybe Trick or Treat is with Halloween fans
Mhm.
Right.
or horror fans in general.
Hmm.
Because it's like there's a lot of horror movies that just have Christmas in the background. The latter Silent
Mhm.
Night, Deadly
Right.
Night movies can do that. It's like the older Hellraiser or the newer Hellraiser movies where they in the franchise where it was another script and they just took that script and put Pinhead in it for 5 minutes at the end and change the title to Hellraiser.
Right.
Uh, but um, but yeah, with Krampus, there's so much Christmas. I mean, it's like Trick or Treat, and that like the spirit of the movie is the
Hmm.
spirit of Christmas, in the same way that Trick or Treat
Mhm.
was the spirit of Halloween. And I just wish that movie was talked about more and was appreciated more. I'm not saying people don't like it and
Hmm.
rewatch it every year, but it just is not in the cultural zeitgeist. Like,
Yeah.
I think
It
what
was
it is because that is based off of it. It's a concept of Krampus is very, no pun intended, it's foreign to us here in the United States and probably Canada as well, as it's a very, once again, a European thing. So it might not resonate, I think, with people the way Santa Claus does.
Yeah.
Or maybe if we
it
had
was
like a,
such a
not to get blasphemous, but what if we had a Christmas movie with a killer Jesus or something like that, where he
Oh
just
my god.
back with my revenge, motherfuckers?
Oh
But yeah,
man.
Krampus was such an anomaly. I actually was working at the movie theater when that came out, and I went and saw it several times, and I saw the crowds of people coming in for it. The tickets sold really well. Usually the theaters were full pretty much for the first, I would say, like 3 weekends. They were full. People were coming to see it, and they seemed to really enjoy it. They seemed to have a really great time. But then they'd leave the theater and they weren't talking about it. That's what I noticed. You know, it wasn't the kind of movie where that keeps you talking when it's over. And so it just sort of like came and went. I was really surprised it wasn't more popular. And I completely agree with you, Kyle. It's strange that I don't even see it included on lists of Christmas horror movies, often. It just gets
Really?
completely overlooked. I just think maybe it wasn't bad, but it wasn't mind-blowingly amazing for people either. It was just a very middle of the road movie, I think, for the average moviegoer, which was really strange to me. I don't know. It was
I'm
weird.
going to say something really controversial, maybe controversial. I love Gremlins. I do.
Mhm.
But I love
Mhm.
Krampus more than I love Gremlins.
oh, and
Oh
there's
wow.
Gremlins
No,
one
I
Whoa.
don't think
and
that.
I love Krampus. The creatures in that movie,
Mhm.
come on, like it's so good. It's
Oh,
so
now
good.
I'm so excited. Oh, and it's got
when
Tony
that's
Collette in it too. And I love her.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like what's in it? Yeah.
and to speak
Mhm.
to Hereditary and also Kimberly's point with Gremlins, like Hereditary, where it's kind of this stitching of different horror movies that you've seen before, especially folk horror and things like that, possession films. But with Krampus, you have a little bit of Home Alone in there. You have a little bit of Gremlins. You have a little bit of
Mhm.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, so
There's like
true.
a
Mhm.
ton of these lovable Christmas movies that we've grown up with,
Yep.
mixed together into this home invasion horror film. And I think one thing that maybe hurts it as well, and I completely agree with Molly with your points on that. But with like Trick or Treat, for example, you had this iconic horror monster that can fall in with Pennywise and Pinhead and Michael Myers and things with Sam, right? Like you have this cute little.
Mhm.
Mhm.
He's a doll. He's a doll that sits, on your desk, a Funko Pop. But with Krampus doesn't have that same appeal, I think, like a Sam or other horror icons where,
Mhm.
there's not Krampus. Nobody's at a convention wearing Krampus t-shirts or dressed like Krampus
Mhm.
or anything.
Right.
And it also being PG-13, it didn't quite go full horror. I think if it maybe even had been a full-on R-rated, crossing the line into an adult horror film, maybe that would have made a difference. I love it, the fact that and I usually loathe PG-13 horror whenever I hear of a PG-13 horror film. I'm like, oh, I don't want to get near that. But with that there's a little bit of familyness to it that like I was able to show my daughter my youngest that like they're
Mhm.
still a pretty early age because it's more gateway, I think, and so there's
Yeah,
Mhm.
that
I
aspect
agree.
of it. But it is a heartfelt movie in a lot of ways that your normal Christmas movies are that aren't horror. So there's definitely an appeal there. There's definitely, if you have younger kids that they may, I mean, not a 6-year-old necessarily, but if you've got a 10-year-old, they're probably most likely, unless they're just very skittish, they're going to enjoy Krampus. So, um, My job is to try to. I just want to bring Krampus back. I want people to,
Yeah.
talk about it.
I think Josh is onto something though too. I really do think it also might come down to the fact that like people don't have the same emotional attachment to Krampus, at least not American audiences.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, if you're a nerd and a horror fan, you probably are familiar with Krampus. But like the average everyday person, and especially young people who are kind of the aim when you have a PG-13 horror film is you want it to be more of like a family experience. So a lot of the young people going into it in 2015, unless they were raging nerds, probably didn't even know what Krampus was. So I think
Yeah.
that's
Right.
also just a big
No,
part
that's a
of it.
great point for sure.
It's kind of like with me and a friend of mine. I had this conversation a few weeks ago because we sat and watched basically the original Indiana Jones trilogy, and we both came to the same degree that we don't really like the second one, Temple of Doom, that much.
I love Temple of Doom.
I
And
do
the
I
too.
reason
also love
being,
Temple of Doom.
Me too.
and the reason is with Raiders of the Lost Ark, we understand what the Ark of the Covenant is. We
Yeah.
understand the old Bible story. In
Mhm.
Last Crusade, we understand the Cup of Christ. We understand that whole lore. To this day, I don't know what the hell was going on in Temple of Doom because they're going into a different mythology from a different world that
Mhm.
I wasn't brought up in. That I don't really fully understand, and that always kind of took me out. That, and I think his girlfriend in it is very weak when you compare it to Marion from the first film.
Mhm.
But
She's
Mm.
like Barbara in Night of the Living Dead, kind of. And I know we spoke to her on a previous episode, but yeah,
yeah,
just very shrill. Not a very strong female character. So compared to Mary, what is her name in the?
Karen Allen's
Yes, Karen Allen's character. It's like
Marion Ravenwood.
Marion.
Yeah,
Ravenwood. Is it okay?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I blanked out there. But yeah, especially compared to that character. So
But yeah, I just had to throw it. Just made me think of how I don't resonate with that one particular movie and why some people might not have resonated once again with Krampus. I would have liked to have seen it go full R2, but at the same token, you're right. It's also a good gateway movie for younger audiences
Mhm.
to get into as well. Maybe they could make like a separate like Krampus reboot that is like goes the full R rated on that and
Well, am I wrong, or isn't that kind of what Rare Exports was? I mean, I don't think that it was
yeah,
actually Krampus, but wasn't Rare Exports kind of that sort of thing, like a rated R take on the Krampus type
Yeah.
legend?
Yeah.
it's a
Okay,
dark
okay. I haven't
thing.
seen it in a while, but
yeah, I haven't either. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's a
mean,
good one too.
I saw it back in the day and loved it, but it's been at least 10 years since I saw it. So
It's on Tubi.
Yanni will be
is it?
speaking to
Oh,
that.
yes.
Yanni, that's yours, right? Aren't you
Yeah, that's
writing?
mine.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I'm gonna be
oh,
writing
Yanni,
more
Oh,
exports.
good.
you're writing about Rare Exports, Yanni?
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
So,
Good
along the
movie.
same lines of PG-13 horror Christmas films, does anyone like Edward Scissorhands? Is anyone a
Yeah.
big
Of course,
fan?
yeah.
That is
Yeah, for
that is
sure.
my favorite movie, probably of
Is
all
it?
time. Yes, it is. I know, but
No, it's a good
it's
one.
totally a Christmas movie to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately, it was one of those ones that unfortunately I can't watch anymore. I love it,
really,
but well, I was a goth teenager in the 90s, man. It was all we watched. We
Yeah.
consumed it like oxygen, So like, unfortunately, I just can't. It's in here. It'll always be in here. I love it, but I have a really hard time sitting down and actually like watching it from start to finish anymore. But I do think it's such a great and actually kind of unsung Christmas movie. People tend to
yeah,
not focus on that part of it. Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yep,
Yeah.
Theater Kids Unite. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. Like, goth theater kids in the 90s, we watched
mm-hmm.
Rocky Horror Picture Show, Edward
Yes,
Scissorhands.
Yep.
Like there were just a few movies that I just can never go back and watch again, but I do love them. I burned myself out on them so hard back then.
that's
You had
fair.
to be a Crow fan, right? Were you a Crow fan? Were you a fan of the Crow?
I was. The Crow is
Okay.
another one. I mean,
Oh,
I
yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
that
can't
was
be a '90s
inspired.
goth
yeah.
kid. more than The Crow. So
The Crow, though, is a weird exception. I do watch The Crow annually. Like, I still watch it every year. So I haven't gotten to the point where I can't rewatch it anymore. But I think that's also because of it's the emotionality of Brandon Lee. I just feel like I'm, just remembering him. It gives it another layer where it's like I'm
Yeah.
not just watching it for the movie anymore. I'm watching it to remember him. I don't know. It's a very
Agreed.
super emo thing to say, but it's true.
Did you like the remake, Molly, of The Crow?
Absolutely did not like the remake at all.
Listen,
Did not. I was so pissed that they
Rat.
dragged Bill Skarsgård into that because I really like Bill Skarsgård as an actor. Could not believe.
We agree to that. I don't know.
Yeah, again. That's another one of like, who the fuck is this for? Now, granted, I am not keyed into like young culture these days. I'm not. So I don't know if it's a movie that would be appealing to the young people of today. I don't have children, and I don't, But who the fuck is it for, really? Because it was it. Never mind. I'm not going to go off on a rant about it. It's just I don't understand who it was for.
I think
You're right.
had
When
they
you have
approached it as a sequel, just another sequel, and maybe then it could have worked if
Yeah.
you just made it like a legacy sequel. Maybe then it could have worked. I haven't watched it either,
Right.
just for the same reason. I just don't want to
I've
Yeah, that was
gotten to
actually
the
the.
point.
a
Oh,
temper
I'm sorry. I was
tantrum.
just gonna say that I gotten to the point now where if you're remaking a movie, I'm not gonna call it reboot. I'm sorry, reboot. Whoever came up with that word could just you and the person who invented the trackpad on laptops. I have a special place waiting for you in my layer of hell. But when you have to pull out, it's closer to the comic book card. That's where you
Yeah.
lose me.
Well, and the thing is that's not even true. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like if it were true, okay, fine, but it's not even true. And actually, I didn't think about it, but fun fact that nobody asked for: the first article I ever published on like that was ever published that I wrote that was published through someone else, not one of my own platforms, was actually a response to the remake coming out. So that's and it was because I was so pissed. I wrote this really long article about all the reasons I thought that this remake was a mistake. The biggest one being Brandon Lee, because I feel like there are some roles that we need to leave alone out of respect. And I know that the young generation doesn't understand what a big deal Brandon Lee was, but for fuck's sake, just let the character of Eric Draven on screen die with him. Let's leave it with it. He it should never be given to anyone else out of respect for him. And so like that's it. It is a very hot button issue for me, and I think I agree with what Josh said. If they had just pitched it as another sequel, we could have easily written it off because we're used to terrible Crow sequels. We've had, many of them. So, like, it would have been fine. But, yeah.
That movie was horrible. Oh my gosh.
It
Don't
was
even
so
watch
bad.
it. Don't even waste your time.
Yeah. I don't recommend it at all. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm not going to keep going.
As I'm watching it, I'm looking at Bill Skarsgård like, how the hell did they get you to agree to this? Coming from it to this?
He's so
And
talented.
Barbarian too. He was
So
also in
talented.
Yeah.
Barbarian as well. It's like they must have got some. They must know where he buried some bodies or something in
Right.
it's blackmail, perhaps.
did,
But
Did you all
he
see?
served his penance. He went on and got out of it. Played Count Orlok and Nosferatu. And there's a movie I'm going to watch here sometime in the next couple of weeks that came out this year called Locked.
Oh,
As
that's
far as
another one. Like, how the. Horrible.
Okay. Well, I was going to watch it because I thought, well, Skarsgård, I think Anthony Hopkins, I figured I might give it a shot,
Yeah.
which I probably still will just because I'm going through 2025 movies in the last couple of weeks and trying to catch up on the year. And it's one that hit my radar. But
Two rights definitely made a wrong in that one. Because you would
Mm.
think, like, Anthony Hopkins, Bill Skarsgård is going to be a hit.
oh,
Oh,
What
that's
is
a
it called?
bummer. I love both of
Locked.
those people.
Locked.
Blocked? Okay.
No,
All right.
locked.
Locked.
Lock the door. Locked.
Yeah.
Oh,
Locked.
locked. Okay, sorry. Locked. Okay. I hadn't even heard of it.
What was everyone's thoughts in this? Of course, movie came out a couple years ago. What did people think of Eli Roth's Thanksgiving?
Like it.
I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. It was fun.
So
I haven't
I
seen
have
it.
not seen it. Liam and I are actually watching it on Monday. We have it. We're planning to watch it on Monday. I'm very excited. I love Patrick Dempsey. I don't. I love him, and I always wanted him to have a bigger career in horror after Scream 3. I just really loved seeing him in the genre. So I'm excited to see him in a horror film. If they're not going to bring him back for the new fucking Scream movies, they can. I'm glad that Eli Roth at least put him in a Thanksgiving horror movie.
Yeah.
I think you'll be pleased.
I
Yeah,
think it's
okay. I'm excited.
it covers 80 slasher, excuse me, homages too. But to me, it felt more like a 90s slasher
I would
homage.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the teenagers, which I thought was cool, especially coming up in that era, becoming a horror fan. So, and I also love that the fake out where the killer, the cat, and he feeds the cat and he pets it. Or I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
As a holiday film, there's not a lot of Thanksgiving horror movies, so it's actually playing at my local theater Thursday. Actually, and if it's coming
Okay.
Thursday, so,
Oh,
yeah. So
nice.
when we
Yeah, I
saw
wonder
it,
what if they're
I'm
going
sorry.
to do a sequel. Yeah, I would think it
I
lends
did hear
itself to
that.
doing a sequel, so I would think
That wouldn't
maybe.
surprise. It was a hit. So, and the first section of the movie that kind of creates the scenario of why there, why the slasher killer is doing what they're doing. The motivation for it is pretty brutal. It's pretty well done. So, I think
I was
you'll like
rooting
it.
for. I was actually rooting for the killer the whole time because I'm like, yeah, you're right. Because I did like the little bit of commentary regarding how crazy people act on Black Friday, and
Yeah,
to the point
it's
to
like
where they start Black Friday on Thanksgiving night, and how
That's
ridiculous that
crazy.
is.
very Dawn
And
of the Dead. It's like very Romero consumerism.
exactly, yeah.
Am I on Glue, or was there not a horror movie with Bruce Campbell that came out a few years ago called
Black
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 Friday.
Friday?
Friday.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
that happen? Okay, I never
It's
saw it.
not as
Was it
good.
I've
good?
seen it. It's
Thanksgiving is better. I didn't
bad.
care for Black Friday that much.
Okay,
So
okay.
It's bad. I mean, just take all the worst parts of Evil Dead and
Oh,
put zombies
really? Oh God.
or
Okay.
whatever because they're not really zombies, are they? They're like infected by aliens or something.
I think so. Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
alien. Talk about a movie that could have been had a lot of potential, probably, and
Hmm.
definitely dropped the ball. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
It's like
Man,
they didn't
I was
even
curious about it when it
yeah.
first came out, but I just never saw it. I
It's almost
don't.
like they didn't even bother giving Bruce Campbell a script, and they're just like, "Go, be campy." You
and
know?
he's not even a main character. He's not in
No.
it a lot. So
No, that's unfortunate.
he's more of like the
Well,
guy on the box, but not really in the movie kind of
no,
situation.
that's sad.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
that's what pissed me off about it was how they used him primarily to market the
hmm
movie, and
hmm
he's not in the movie maybe 10 15 minutes.
I hate it when
Probably.
they do that. I hate it when
No,
they do
I
that.
do too. Well, and they did that. Did that in a way with Halloween Resurrection. Not to get back to that, but right there on the
hmm
poster, there's Jamie Lee Curtis on there with everyone else there. So you
The,
figure, yeah,
yeah, the worst is when they do it retroactively, like what they did with like Leprechaun, where like they didn't use Jennifer Aniston to market it back in the day because she wasn't famous, but then she got famous, so then all of a sudden the new rollout of all the cover art is like Jennifer Aniston's face. And
oh
she's
yeah.
really, yes, she is in the movie, but she's really not a huge character in the movie. And she's not the selling point of it. I hate it when they do that too.
Well, they do that too, and I like this movie, Trick or Treat from '86 or so. But
Oh,
if you see like a DVD cover of it, there's a picture of Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons, and both of
yep,
them are in the movie for maybe 5 minutes each.
maybe. Yeah. I just saw that movie for the first time a couple weeks ago, and oh my God, I could not have loved it more. I had
That's
no idea how
happy.
much I was going to love Trick or Treat. That movie is so and
It's
so much better than it has any right to be.
it's
Like it
awesome.
shouldn't be as good as it is, but it really is. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
um Sorry, one other thing really quickly. Speaking of Christmas movies real quick, another movie that is actually way better than you would think that it would be.
Mm.
Have any of you guys seen, stick with me, Santa Jaws?
I have not. The
No.
Sean
No, I have
Moe,
not.
the writer Sean Moe, is covering it for Scare Stacks.
Oh my God, yay.
Too.
Okay, so Santa Claus, it's a female directed killer shark Christmas movie, and it should not be good. It really shouldn't. It's literally about a shark, a kid who's a comic book artist who draws a killer shark that comes to life on Christmas and kills people with a candy cane horn. Like, it should be
Wow.
terrible. But the production value, not the most amazing in the world. Some of the acting is a little, bad. It's cheesy, but we loved it so much. We watch it every year now, and it's surprisingly good and kind of like heartwarming at times, but also the kills are ridiculous. And I highly recommend Santa Jaws if you want like a just switch your brain off and have fun, Christmas movie. Santa Jaws is a great choice. And the director, she is wonderful. She's done a lot of like really like B killer animal movies. Like she did Ozark Sharks, and
Okay.
like a couple of other, yeah. But she's great. I think we should keep an eye on her. I can't remember her name right now, but I think she's going to end up going on to do some pretty great things. So yeah. Anyway,
Awesome.
I wanted to recommend that one.
I got to watch it now.
Yeah,
Excellent.
it's great. It's very cheesy, but very very fun.
Awesome. Any other? Oh, I covered a whole bunch tonight. I was going to say one other movie, and this is a very, once again, a campy, turn your brain off movie, and it's not per se a Christmas movie, even though the events take place on Christmas Eve. And I only mention this because it's well, it's an old Full Moon Productions movie. Back they were like the kings of direct to video horror, and something that, and I know Molly likes this movie too because this movie like features her king and my queen, and that's a movie
I
called
know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
Working Fear from 1994, which stars Jeffrey Combs from the Reanimator movies, her king, and Ashley Lawrence from the Hellraiser movies, my queen. Just to see those two, where it's really not. It takes place on Christmas Eve, most of it in a church where they're all barricaded and they have these very Lovecraftian type of movie. Um, Ghouls living underneath that feed on the people and they have to fight back, and then you get these weird subplot of these bank robbers trying to recover their gold that's supposed to be in one of the graves, and it's just very weird and crazy. Most of them are hamming it up. Big kudos though to both Jeffrey Combs and Ashley Lawrence because they're clearly the only two actors in the entire movie that are actually trying to put effort into their
Well, because
roles.
that's what Jeffrey does. Like,
Yeah.
you could give him the world's worst script, and he is going to turn out the best fucking theatrical Shakespearean performance you've ever seen in your life. He shows up and he works his ass off.
Oh yeah.
That's why I love
Well, and that's
him.
it. And when I met Ashley at HorrorCon, I asked her what was it like working opposite Jeffrey Combs, and she said, "Oh, he helped me bring my A game. Like those two were
Mhm.
working off each other, and it's like it's a good thing too, or else that movie would have been really crap and
Well,
not been
and
for him."
it's funny because there's another Jeffrey Combs movie. It's not quite a horror movie. I
Yeah,
mean, although Dave Allen does do stop motion animation for it, he did a lot of stop motion for like the Puppet Master movies. But
right.
Dr. Mordred, which was Dr. Mordred is it was basically Dr. Strangelove, but Full Moon's version of Dr. Strangelove because they lost the rights to the character. So
Right.
it's or not Dr. Strangelove, Dr. Strange. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's it's their take on like the Doctor Strange mythos, but it's also technically a Christmas movie. It doesn't start on Christmas, but it ends on Christmas, and with Jeffrey Combs drinking eggnog in a silk bathrobe with a crow on his shoulder, and it's fucking fantastic. So I recommend that one too.
There we go. Well, yeah.
I have a
Which
recommendation.
all right?
It
Which one?
Yeah.
is Tales from the Crypt.
Oh,
Uh, I think it's season 1, episode 2 or 3. I think it's called like All Through the House. So good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great.
So So good.
Yes,
That's
that
like
is
one
a
of my
good one.
favorite
There was a
Is that
Christmas
good.
from
songs.
the? I don't know if I remember that
It's the
one.
OG Tales from the Crypt. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch
See
that.
the one episode 2 or 3.
Could I jump in
Okay.
on a couple? Because I've got to jump off here in just a minute to go
Sure.
pick up my daughter at theater. So,
I have to
oh, and
jump off too because
also,
my cat's losing his mind. So.
and also too, I didn't get to touch base on the movies we would change. So next time,
Oh,
um,
I'm
I've
sorry.
got two. No, you're good. No, 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 all good. We needed to move on anyway. But yeah, I've got a couple that if it's relevant again at some point, I would love to. It's for the Wolfman remake, and then I Saw the Devil are the two.
Okay.
Wait,
Oh,
wait,
No,
wait.
I saw the
You
Late
Which
Night.
changed
I
the
want to
Wolfman
know
devil.
what you
remake,
would
though? Are
change.
we talking
Late
I
Night.
want to know
Benicio
what
del
you would change
Toro?
about I Saw the Devil.
Me too.
No,
No, you can't just drop that and not talk about it.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
for it.
'cause
Go.
Perfect. I would not change anything. It was Late Night with the Devil and Wolfman. Two
oh,
movies that I
okay,
enjoyed.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
me and Molly were like, what? I saw
No,
the
no,
Yeah,
no,
because
no.
devil.
I'm
I
like,
love. I
I Saw the Devil is a fucking masterpiece. I'm
Yes,
like,
it
what
is.
could you possibly change?
Boy and just South Korean perfection. No, no, no.
Yeah.
I almost did it again. Don't don't come at me, guys. No, I'm just kidding. I think y'all are about to start hitting me. No, late, late, Late Night with the Devil, and then the Wolfman. So, or
Okay.
I'm sorry, just Wolfman. But that's
Mm.
Which Wolfman? Are you talking about the one that came out this year or the one with
yeah,
Benicio? Okay.
yeah, the new one. So there's
I
things about it
haven't
I liked,
seen
and
it.
there's some things that drove me nuts. But overall, yeah, I actually liked it better than I expected. So, but there's some definite, especially with the main guy, the main character, I would change a little bit. But yeah, but as far as Christmas, and then I'll let you guys get back to it. A French one from '89 that predated Home Alone that has a Home Alone storyline to it is and it has different names. But Yanni, you look like you know what I'm about to talk about. But it's called Deadly Games Dial Code Santa Claus, and it is it's a French
That is
movie.
such
French
a
Home Alone
title.
is the perfect
Wow.
description.
And it's got multiple names. Deadly Games and then Dial Code Santa Claus, I think, were two separate ones that they put together. But basically, it is this kid, and it's very much it's very fantastic. But again, set in France, and this kid whose mother owns like a toy store factory. So they're very wealthy. They have this giant mansion estate. And so he has this like secret room that's like gigantic that has all these toys and a pirate ship and all these things. So he lives this fantastic life for like a 9 year old. He's also obsessed with 80s action movies. He dresses like Rambo, things like that. But there is an escaped madman who who dresses up as Santa Claus. And actually, while the mother is at work for the night on Christmas Eve, this killer dressed as Santa breaks into the mansion, and so the little boy has to protect himself and his very fragile grandfather, and them survive the night from this guy. And it's a beautifully made movie. It is not only a love letter to horror, a love letter to Christmas. It's also a love letter to '80s action movies, which I'm also a huge fan of, and could go off on a separate podcast just on those things. But it is it's like I said, it's French film, but it is excellent. I highly recommend it. It's been, I believe you can watch it, you can stream it on Shutter if I'm not mistaken. And it goes there too. Like there's a couple scenes especially that um, goes full on horror. But an excellent in the pantheon of killer Santas. So for sure. And the other one I would recommend, and then I literally have to go or my daughter's going to kill me, um, is Christmas Evil, which I was surprised nobody picked for Scare Stack, but I'm going to write on it just separately off on my own,
Okay.
probably, because it was like, oh, this has to be covered. Not sure if anybody's seen Christmas Evil, also
I
known as
have.
Better Watch. Okay, Molly,
Yep.
I thought maybe you'd seen it, but it stars Fiona Apple's dad, who was an actor. It
Really?
predates, yeah,
Wow.
it predates Silent Night, Deadly Night with the killer. And this movie isn't. I think it gets lumped in as a slasher film. It's really not. It's more of a psychological horror film. More, and then becomes slasher esque towards the end. And then you have this completely batshit amazing ending that you don't know is real or not. It's fantastic. But just to give you an idea, it is the director John Waters. It is his favorite Christmas movie, but it is excellent, way better than it has any right to be. Actually pretty deeply, like psychologically deep and rich movie as far as mental health and um,
What's it called again?
it's called Christmas Evil.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, and highly
it is one of
recommend
my
that.
favorites.
What did you say? Oh, do you like? Are
It,
you a fan, Yanni?
yes, big fan.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's a beautifully made movie too. Again, the cinematography, the same as Deadly Games. It's just a beautiful movie to just watch. So it's visually very pretty film. Well acted.
Totally agree, 100%.
Again, so after you watch, so after the show is over and you watch Trap, and then you go back and you rewatch. What was the other one you are going to rewatch? Then you can watch a marathon of Deadly Games. And you got a lot of movies to watch tonight. Yeah, yeah,
I know I'm writing them all down.
awesome,
Yep.
awesome.
Gotta watch Dark and the Wicked.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Dark
Oh
and the
yeah,
Wicked.
Dark and the Wicked. I got to remember that one. I
Yeah,
really want to see that
definitely.
one.
But thank you all. Thanks for Josh. Thanks for having me back on
Oh,
again. I expect to be back on season 3.
yeah.
And I will be touching base with everybody on ScareStack 25 Days of Slays. We're going to be sending that
Love
out.
it.
And then, Carrie, next time around for next year, you are joining the club. I will send you
Awesome.
the back tattoo that you have to put on once, as far as the initiation. So, all right.
Perfect. I'm down.
See
See you,
you
Great
guys.
Kyle.
Y'all
hanging
have a
with
great
Bye,
you
one.
Thanks,
Thanks for having
Kyle.
Kyle.
me.
Thanks for
Hey,
coming by.
appreciate you. Thanks,
All
guys.
right.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
And
All
now
right.
I'm sorry, but I also have to go. My cat has been scratching at the door for like a half an hour and he is losing his mind.
I
So,
didn't know if it was your
um,
cat or my cat, but I was hearing it in
It was
the
yeah,
so
back.
it's probably
cute.
mine. He is quite loud. But the guys too. My boyfriend. I live with my boyfriend and his father, and they're both kind of on their way to the end of the night. So I should probably go and say
Okay.
goodnight to them and all that. But I'm so
Yeah.
glad that
Yes.
we did that. Thank you for having me. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Molly, it's so great to meet you.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, I actually said, I mean, Carrie, I did not know you would be here tonight. So I'm so sorry for not saying this about you as well. But when Liam had asked me, are you sure you want to do that this weekend? Because as you guys know, I had sort of a death in the family earlier in the week and I wasn't sure if I was, how I was going to feel. And I was like, no, I was like, this is my third opportunity now to hang out with Yanni, Kyle, and Kimberly. And I am not going to miss it because I've missed it the last two fucking times. So yes, it's so nice to finally meet all of you and talk with you in real time. Carrie, it's been such a pleasure, and just thank you guys so much.
Likewise,
Yes.
Molly.
Yeah.
likewise. Well, have a good rest of your night and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and same to all of you, and I'll see you guys next season.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
And I also have to go. I've got a child looking at me
Well, I
from right
think
over there.
I think on that cue there, I think we're about I think we're pretty much wrapped up anyway. So I think well, we're coming up Thanksgiving, so I just want to say thank you to the three of you and to Molly and to Kyle and some of my other past guests this year. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a up and down year for me this past
Mm.
year, so it's been a great distraction. I hope, and I hope those who watch the show get at least a couple hours of fun in their lives. So yeah, thanks everyone. And like I said, I've got taking a little break from the channel until after the holidays are over. So we will all keep in touch. I'm sure we will anyway on Substack. And are you going to do any more videos, Carrie? Or good?
Yeah, I need to get my butt in gear for sure. But yeah, I've had some setbacks. I was in the ER a couple nights ago for migraine stuff, so I'm
Right.
just gotta figure that out. So tonight was a good night. So
Good. Well, I'm glad
yeah,
you were able to make it. And
yeah,
Yanni, you'll be starting your channel back up, I would assume, what, at the first of the year
At
as
the
well?
first of the year, yeah, we're getting everything set up for Midnight Circuit to return, and I got a couple other things that are going on behind the scenes as well. So it's going to be fun.
awesome.
Good, good. I've been doing this secretly, but I've been working on adapting one of my books into a screenplay. I'm about two-thirds from it. Is the most tedious bullshit. I never want to do it again. So I hope to hell someone. So if someone wants to make a movie or something needs a script, I'm working on one right now. So
That's awesome.
Nice.
yeah,
That is awesome.
but then I'll get back to the doing actual fiction writing again here, probably after the holidays, and get back on that. So,
Yep.
all right, Kimberly, you're just keep on nailing the material. I like the one you did about Janet Goldstein. Did I pronounce her name right? The one that that played in Aliens.
Oh, Vasquez? Yeah.
Yes, yes, I did meet her briefly at a con
Are you
at
serious? Oh,
they had
cool.
like an aliens, like they had a few people from aliens, including Michael Bean and
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
Mark Rolston, who played Drake in Aliens, and they had a little panel
Oh, that's
discussion type
cool.
of thing. So she's really nice.
Man, I love her.
Yeah,
So cool.
awesome. Well, everyone else, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys back sometime in January. And good night, and like, share, and subscribe.
Night, everyone.